Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. We're on my channel this week. I'm your host, Eric Eastep, joined as always by the Iceberg, Jarrett Lumber. He's on this side today. Zoom, my goodness. Down here we got Danny B Talks. And this week, to start out the show, we are honored to be joined by Ross Chastain. Ross, thank you for being on tonight.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you here, especially it's such an important week. I want to talk about your Xfinity Series season this year for Colleague. You know, it's been a crazy season, but you've been one of the most consistent drivers in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. You haven't quite gotten that win this year, but just in general, how do you feel about this huge season for you?
You're right. It has been. It's been incredibly consistent, and when I see the numbers, I do appreciate and realize how good we've been, but that doesn't take away from the fact that we're racers and we want to go win. So it eats at us that we haven't. It drives us. It's what gets me out of bed every morning, right, is to win. So all the cool stuff is good. Like, I know we've ran good. We're doing all the right things right, all the little things right, but getting to victory lane is ultimately our goal, is with all racers. So it doesn't matter what level of racing you're at. It's winning that, is why you want to do it.
Now, Ross, obviously, you want to finish out your time of college racing. You want to try to win the Xfinity Series championship this year. But just last week, the groundbreaking news, you're going to be driving the 42 car for Chip Ganassi Racing next year. Such a huge moment for you, I'm sure. And you go back to 2018, you get the chance to go out and do good and win in that car even. And then 2019, thought everything was lined up right, didn't work out. So tell us, what does this mean for you now that the cards are finally back on the table for Chip Ganassi Racing?
It's a dream come true. Just to get the chance to drive for a guy like Chip. I mean, I think if you walked into any garage, any paddock in the world, almost, they're going to know Chip Ganassi's name. And I get to drive one of his Cup Series cars in NASCAR. Get to be teammates with Kurt Busch, Scott Dixon, now Jimmy Johnson. Legends in racing. So, yeah, it's been a bumpy and curvy road, and we've gotten kicked a few times, but we've stayed the course. We stayed committed to each other. There was a lot of things out of our control, and we made it through it, and now we've got a lot of opportunity in front of us. It's not going to be easy, but 2021 is what I've worked my career for. To get that opportunity and to drive for a guy like Chip is still a dream come true, and I haven't lost sight of that.
So, going full time for Chip Ganassi in 2021, it's got to be an amazing feeling. I got to ask though, with the announcements today of the schedule next year and this just topsy-turvy schedule, what are your thoughts on it? Are there any tracks you're just dreading going to now, or are there any where you're just circling them on the calendar right away?
I mean, I don't really know what to think yet. To be honest, the announcement of being in the 42 car, I'm not going to say it's totally sunk in yet. Like, we've got an Xfinity championship to chase after, and that's where the focus has been. I've tried to plug in as much as I can to watch and learn and listen to Matt Kenseth and Kurt, and both the 42 and the 1 teams, just watching, from a little bit different perspective, of definitely different of where I'll be next year. So then the schedule starts coming out and we start seeing some stuff today. And I mean, I'm all for change. There's none of those tracks I'm necessarily upset about. Like, I think it's great that we're diversifying it up and going to new places. Now, do I think that we're going to go to Nashville Super Speedway and have this 4 wide all day long, this great race? No, like, you can look up the races that were ran there, and it's not going to be 4 wide for the win, but it's a new venue. It's Nashville. Hopefully we can get out and see people and have fans by then, where we don't have these restrictions, and go get to enjoy Nashville, right? We're going to work, but I'm probably gonna stay a few days after the race and enjoy the city and see some friends and just go listen to good music. So, and then you go, like a place like Road America. I've ran there every year basically since 2015, minus 1 year. So at least I know the track. Now we go to Coda, nobody knows it. So I'm looking forward to the challenge. I did tell, my crew chief on the 42, Phil Surgeon, who's crew chiefing it now, he texted me today and was asking some questions. Said I ran the Eldora truck race. I said, yeah, I ran it last year. Like it ended up okay. I think we ended up 12th, but like I wrecked in practice, went out in the race, and he's like, yeah, I don't know where we could really like help you. Like, what dirt track would compare to a dirt race at Bristol? And I'm like, I don't know. I said the biggest thing you can do for me is send me to like dirt racing for dummies. Like I need the book, the videos, and I need to know. I don't even know what I'm looking at when I look at a dirt track. I know when I'm looking at a farm field, I know what to look for and I know what it needs. But the dirt guys are so good because they can read the moisture. They can just look at it and tell the moisture's here, the moisture's there. Go run like I'm just like, oh, he's running up there. I'll go run there. So I got a lot to learn.
I really don't know. I don't know a dirt track that could compare to a Bristol dirt. The closest one I can think of is where I grew up at, a little place called Tazewell Speedway. It's about a 1/3 mile oval with about 20-something degrees of banking in the straightaways, 30 in the turns. So that's about the only thing I can think of for you.
Wow.
All right. I'll pass that along, but I don't know.
Goodness, yeah. Well, we're gonna kind of bounce around a little bit here. You know, last week at Las Vegas didn't quite get the result you were hoping for in the Xfinity Series, but you're still right there on the cut line going into Talladega. Talladega always that ominous sort of threat in the distance. What's your approach going into that race this weekend?
I mean, college racing and RCR and the ECR motors we have give us a leg up for sure. We handle really well in the straightaways, and then they drive good in the corners and they draft incredible. So especially then you line up 3, now maybe 4 of us with Anthony Alfredo in the 21 car. He's drafted with us a few races now, so he's definitely going to be a player with us. But AJ, Justin, and myself want to go control that race. You know, we want to be up front. So you're right though. Anything can happen, but anything can happen anywhere else. I mean, you saw it. We just finished 16th at Las Vegas, so nothing's guaranteed. I picked to wait all the way until the playoffs started to go drive my race car into the wall on lap 40 and hurt our night. So definitely can't be doing that. You know, no more mulligans for us. And but go try to control this race, and stage points are big. Get on up ahead of that, above that cut line, and try to win. I mean, that's what we're going down there for.
Yeah, so obviously, you know, you just talked about your team has College Racing's been one of the more dominant teams on these super speedways, and of course, this weekend is a super speedway race you originally didn't think that you would have. This one, you know, because of the whole COVID situation, now this race is there that wouldn't have originally been there. So, obviously, this weekend is very important. But how would you say that your relationship with your teammates is important for maybe where you're currently sitting at in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean it's good. I'm not naive to the fact that the last time we were on a super speedway, I mean I crashed 2 of our cars, and I crashed AJ going for the win. Just made a very high risk move to the bottom on the final corner, the last lap, and I wrecked my car and his car. Neither one of us won, so it's a bad move, and I've learned from it. Luckily, Justin Haley was there in the leaf filter car to get the win, but we that week on Wednesday we took off to Ohio to go see Matt because he can't come to these races with the restrictions. He can't come, and we need all hands on deck to work on these cars. So we went up there on that Wednesday. Justin, AJ, Chris Rice, our general manager, and myself, and had good fellowship with Matt, and just got through it. You know, we didn't want to let it fester and make things worse for us because we get along so good, and that's one thing Chris was like, I'm not letting this ruin our relationship. It stinks and it's bad, but we're not going to let this ruin us, where we can go to Talladega and control it and win. So that was good. Me and AJ talked a lot and understand each other's sides, and it was just a miscommunication on the 2 driving sides, and it caused a wreck, and I was the one at fault, I feel like. So but we're great. The cars will be fast. We can draft incredible. We can make aggressive moves. And then with one teammate, if you just have one of the other college cars behind you, you can make really, they're high risk moves until you have that teammate to push you on through in the draft and try to get the lead.
So you were talking about going for the championship, going for the win this weekend, Talladega, but there's more races after Talladega as well. And you've been really, really consistent this year. I saw you finish second so far 6 times this year. What is it going to take for the team overall and you just to sort of break through that glass ceiling and get that first one of the year?
Yeah, I mean, I think my motto is in mentality is just we're just going to keep doing what we're doing because, like I said earlier, we're doing all the little things right and all the right things right. It's going to work out. It's how racing goes. If you run up front enough, you will win, and we're going to get there. So if it's this weekend, next weekend, it doesn't matter. We're doing it all right. I was at the shop today, and the guys built. So when we crashed at Daytona, both of those cars are still getting fixed, the 16 and the 10. So we had to bring out 2 more cars. They're immaculate. I mean, they look like. I mean, they're not brand new, but they look brand new, and they're built like they're brand new. So I know we'll be fast. We start 13th. I think Justin's 8th, and AJ's back in the 30s since they don't run all the races with the crazy formula. But we know we'll be in the race, and we know that we can go do it. So being there today and seeing that thing, it's pretty much ready to go in the truck this evening, and so it's full steam ahead.
Awesome. Yeah, I know we're all really excited to watch that Talladega race. It's going to be a heck of a show. Before we let you go, Ross, we had fans send in a bunch of questions. You were one of our most highly anticipated guests we've had on this show in the 3 years we've been doing it. So congratulations. We got a lot of great questions for you. First one we got was from Two Man on YouTube. He asks, will the melon smashing continue when you win in the Cup Series? Seeing you do that in Trucks and Xfinity last year single-handedly got my sister into NASCAR.
Absolutely. Yes. More watermelons than you can count. So, which would be hard to do because we at Daytona last July, when we won the Xfinity race, that's my home race. That was the race we went to growing up. And actually my dad had brought over a bin full of watermelons. That's 45 watermelons we had. We didn't smash all of them. We gave some out to people and took them into our team and stuff. But the one that I smashed on the start finish line, cool little story. My brother was working for a farmer in South Georgia, and he has his pilot's license. My brother does. So he borrowed the farmer's plane. He was running a packing shed for the guy, grabbed the watermelon out of the shed, flew over to Daytona, parked right there, landed right there at the Daytona airport. We picked him up, and that was the watermelon I ended up smashing that night. So
Wow.
That was awesome. Cool little stories of, the other ones would have been cool too, but like to say that my brother flew it in was awesome, and he ran it out then to me on the front stretch. So yes, more watermelons. Hopefully, I hope this year. I am ready. I'm itching to smash one, and because what it means, right? That's our family's history. That's our livelihood. We still farm watermelons. Everybody's in Florida farming watermelons, and I'm up here chasing this dream. So I want to help get people, thinking about watermelons any chance I get.
I gotta ask, like my wife wanted me to ask this question to you. So is there always at least, like, even if you're all the way up in Road America, all the way up in Wisconsin area, is there always at least one watermelon on standby?
There is, yes. And I've been carrying them into these races for years. That's what people don't, it didn't really get seen until we won at Las Vegas in 2018. But I've carried a lot of watermelons into these tracks and put a lot of watermelons on the hauler. And they've been eaten in sorrow after we lose because I lost from 2011 to 2018.
Wow.
Never won a race. That's a lot of losing. I did a lot of losing.
Goodness me.
So,
well, yeah.
Yeah. So we have one in the 10 hauler. We had to switch it out because they will rot and after a while. But I've stopped at U-Picks and farms or grocery stores along the season and picked one up. And carrying in the track is a good motivating tool for me. For myself and for my team. When they see me walk in carrying a watermelon, they know it's time to go and time to win.
Awesome. Well, watermelons everywhere. Beware next season and beyond. Fish Productions asked, also from YouTube, who are your favorite drivers or inspirations growing up?
Growing up, man, it was Jeff Gordon. He had the DuPont, the rainbow car. I loved that car. My dad, he did some hobby racing, and he had on his hood, he had a John Deere green truck, right? We're deer people. We're all green at the farm. And so he didn't have any sponsorship, but he did his hood in every John Deere color, just like DuPont did their hood in most of their colors. So that was cool. And yeah, Jeff Gordon was the guy. And then when I moved up here to Charlotte, I actually got to live with Ron Hornaday for, it was supposed to be like a week, and it turned into like 6 months. Whoa. So him and Lindy were kind enough to let me live with him, and he's a legend, you know, and so he was really, really good to me, and so he was my hero before and forever will be.
That's awesome. Last fan question we have is from Alexis. She asks, if you win at the Martinsville race on Halloween, will you smash a pumpkin instead of a watermelon? That might be blasphemy here. I'm not sure what's going on, but what's your take on that?
Well, I mean, we do have a saying in the family and in the watermelon industry. It's save a pumpkin, carve a watermelon. You know, we want you to buy watermelons. But I don't know. I might have to look into that. I was given a head of cauliflower from a cauliflower farmer for the February Daytona race. And he said, man, if you win, I'd love it. You smash your watermelon, but will you please also smash this cauliflower right out there on the start finish line? We didn't get to do it, but that did open my eyes that, man, we could diversify our smashing here with some other fruits and veggies. So then Justin Haley, AJ Almaneers, actually, they put it in our docuseries 2-Track Mind on YouTube. They made fun of me and said, next I'm going to be smashing a whole fruit salad. So, you know, there's that. But maybe a pumpkin. Maybe we'll have to take a pumpkin.
Perhaps cauliflower isn't the best of luck. I remember what ended up happening to you in that February race. You had to start in a different car, didn't you?
I did. Jeff Green and the Sieg family were kind enough to let me drive their 38 car, but that was they documented it all and filmed it and then put it on YouTube. So not the way we wanted to kick off our season by missing the race with 2 of our colleague cars, but it's been up from there.
That's awesome. Well, we really appreciate your time. There's a ton of watermelon emojis in our chat, just absolutely flooding it this entire time. Ross, we really appreciate your time. Thank you for being on, and best of luck this weekend at Talladega.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
See ya. Bye. That was fun.
That was fun. All right.
You know, he can make it look like a pumpkin by just painting a watermelon orange. Or if he does smash a pumpkin, they gotta play Smashing Pumpkins like on NASCAR's Twitter account. They gotta do that. Just my take on it. Play some Smashing Pumpkins.
Him just carve a watermelon into some sort of like spooky jack-o'-lantern look, and that would be best. But that would require a lot of work, a lot of planning. You'd have to get a design together, all that stuff.
I honestly can't say I've ever heard of anyone carving watermelons before now, though. So
I don't know that it's possible. Someone make it happen out here. But there we go. That was Ross Chastain, Xfinity Series championship contender, who will be driving for Chip Ganassi Racing in the Cup Series next year. That was a lot of fun. Again, really appreciate him being generous with his time this evening and joining us for a little bit. We do have a few super chats. Oh, I can't view them. Where are my super chats at? Well, I do see the big $20 super chat from Nicholas. Thank you, Nicholas Gray. I'll look for the other super chats in just a moment. But thank you, Nicholas. I've enjoyed watching your journey from the heights. Oh, I guess he's talking to Ross Chastain here. I've enjoyed watching your journey from the highs to the lows and seem to stay positive. Your no-quit attitude is inspiring. I enjoy watching the hard work you put in every race. Keep up the awesome work in 2020 and 2021. Nicholas Gray, of course, with the Melon Man profile picture on YouTube as well. Thank you for the super chat, Nicholas. And I'm sure when Ross watches this back later, he will see that and he'd be very appreciative of it.
I don't know. That comment might be about you, Eric. I mean, I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't drive race cars, so that can't be about me.
But you put in a lot of work and effort for each race because you do out of degree. So
I guess that is true. But I'll take the Melon Man profile picture for what it's worth. I think that's pretty likely. But yeah, well, we have a lot to get to tonight. That's an understatement, without a doubt. So we really appreciate all of you tuning in this evening. But I'll turn it over to you, Jarrett. Where should we start tonight? We didn't really plan this. There's obviously schedule stuff. There's everything we can talk about tonight. I don't know where's the best place to start.
Schedule stuff has affected our schedule stuff.
Let's go. How about we do the race first, and we'll save the schedule stuff. Let a few more people file on in here.
I totally forgot there was a race, to be quite honest with you. So I was already ready to jump into the 2021 news because it's just that overwhelming. But no, yes, we did have a race, Las Vegas.
Yeah, what'd you guys think about that one? Because I thought it was decent for the most part until everything got turned on its head. Like, with 40 to go with that caution and all the pit strategies and everything. But I want to know what you guys thought about it.
Biased Bowman fan is always happier when he's contending, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It was a decent race up until the last 40 or 50 laps, and that caution caught everyone off guard and everything. So it definitely shook things up in a bit of a random way. I mean, we can call Kurt Busch's plan strategy, but he admitted afterwards he really just got lucky. He had to earn it afterwards. I really thought, and this was, I feel like, the story that wasn't talked about. This race, with that caution coming out 40 laps to go, was Matt DiBenedetto's to win. He'd been running really well up to that point, had driven up into the top 5. He's still looking for his first career win in a week where he, given that it's almost midnight, probably isn't coming back to the Wood Brothers next year, needs to build up his stock for a good ride next year. That race was his to win. He had controlled the restart and lost it to Kurt Busch. So Kurt Busch did have to earn it, even though he did get very lucky in getting all that track position at the very end there. But I don't know. It's one of those deals where it was a race that felt a little random. I don't think the best car won. And I don't know, some fans will like that. I mean, I think every now and then it's fun. A little wild card winner like that is fun, especially with as much on the line as is right now.
Well, and I like the fact that Kurt got to win while not in front of a hometown crowd, still in his hometown. And you could tell like this win meant differently, and I'd say more than a lot of other wins that he's had in his career. So I really enjoyed that part. I mean, I got to root for a fellow Cubs fan here. But overall, I think the last 40 laps were probably the highlight of the race. There's no real arguing that. But the racing overall, while there were some problems here and there when it came to just getting stuck in dirty air, for the most part was pretty good. There was actually more passing than I thought there would be earlier on in the race. There was more like vying for the lead longer after the restart. So I feel like a lot of these teams are starting to get more of a grasp, at least at tracks like Las Vegas and Kansas, on this current package. And I think it really paid off. I personally gave the race an 8 out of 10. I thought it was pretty good. I wouldn't say it was like a great race, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 kind of race, but I put it up at like the high end of good. I was entertained and really wanted more as the race ended. So I can't really ask for too much more other than that at a Las Vegas race.
I agree. No, 8 out of 10 is in line with what my Groovy Gauge score was. So we agree on that one.
Yeah, I'll put it right up there too.
Really quick, before we finish talking about Vegas, I want to catch up on those super chats from earlier since I got them pulled up. Dustin, thank you for the super chat. He just says, Ross, in big letters, Ross. Hunter, thank you for the super chat. Petition to make Eric eat watermelons every video. Please don't sign that. I will not. That sounds terrible.
What, you don't like watermelon?
Watermelon's fine, but every video, I imagine them wanting me to like stuff my face with it. You know, it's like the cartoonish grin, but it's like the whole watermelon. Like that's a little too far. But I'll eat watermelon. I'll check my fridge at some point tonight.
I ate watermelon in my Ross Chastain news video the other day. So
there you go. You see, you commit to it more than I do. That's the mark of a true YouTuber. GN, thanks for the super chat. Ross, what is your reaction to all the news in the past week that's overshadowed your move to the 42 car? Thoughts on the 2021 Cup schedule? We got some of his thoughts on that, especially the schedule stuff. There has been a lot of news.
I don't know if I would have asked him it like that per se.
But it's terrible. It's like his whole career. It's like he keeps getting overshadowed. It's like this great moment. Any other year, the last week would have been like the Ross Chastain week. Yeah. Like everyone would have been talking all about Ross Chastain, and then it's like next day, oh yeah, we're gonna go to Coda, and then the same day we're gonna go to Coda, and by the way, Michael Jordan's here now. It's like that's Jesus, tough.
Getting upstaged by Michael Jordan,
and then just a week later, yeah. So Bristol's gonna get dirty now.
Yeah, it's
that sounds so wrong.
It's been an avalanche for sure. Reptile Girl,
it was supposed to.
Reptile Girl, thanks for the super chat. You guys are amazing. You're amazing, Reptile Girl. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat and the kind words. And really quick, then we'll move on. Kyle, thanks for the super chat. Hey guys, how'd you feel about my modified version of the playoffs? This will require multiple messages. Oh gosh, Kyle.
Oh gosh.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, he's already left one of them. Cut the playoff field from 16 to 12. There are only 2 rounds, 5 races each. All of the 5 tracks in each round very different. So like you cut it from 12 down to 6, and then that's it. And that'd be something. At least then, you get more than 3 races, and it doesn't come down to one championship. That would possibly be
but
big help.
So if we're still in a the most win system, all someone has to go do is win 3 races, and they win a championship.
Perhaps. Oh, he added another one to it. After the first 5 race round, the playoff field is cut in half to 6. Points then are completely reset to a tie. I don't really like resetting it to a tie. I like how playoff points matter. I like how the regular season points matter a little bit. But I wouldn't mind. Yeah, that's certainly not a terrible idea. And thanks again, Reptile Girl. I appreciate the super chats. If we don't answer them right away after you send them, we'll try to get to them during breaks in the action tonight. But we really appreciate.
We always do read every single one of those, unless it's something just like we cannot say that.
And Kyle says, yes, the final 6 drivers have like a mini chase to decide the champion. It definitely would be like the old chase. I just the points reset is the only thing I'm a little like iffy on.
Yeah, because it's like, you know how I'm generally not as like on board with the playoffs and stuff, but I have to admit, like the 14 to 16 playoff format that they had, where it's just complete reset. I think that having playoff points the way we have it 17 to now is a lot better. It actually stuff earlier in the season does come into play with that. So I'd say if you have some like playoff points or something like that as a reset, I'd say worth a shot.
Like there are some things that, we criticize NASCAR about, but there's some things I think I really kind of like if we got rid of playoffs altogether and we went back to just doing points to determine a champion, I would still kind of want stage points because I do like how it rewards the entire season, the entire race.
Did your camera get stuck? Okay, no, he's moving again.
No. I just started going I was like, yeah, full season stages.
We know you like that.
Full season.
But I mean, I like the fact that I think back to a lot of races where like someone would be pretty much dominating the whole race, and then something happens, like you just kind of like a BS thing happens to them, and then they get a 38th place finish. It's like, I kind of like stage points for that reason.
Definitely. Well,
I'll agree to disagree.
Yeah. Well, going back to Las Vegas for a moment, we'll talk a little bit more about the winner, Kurt Busch. Definitely an upset winner to start this round because now he's locked into the round of 8. And I don't recall. I feel like one of us picked him to go to the round of 8, but I don't remember who it was. It was not me. I had him out in the round of 12.
I had him out in the round of 16, so it wasn't me.
I think I put him for the round of 8 because I just seen how consistent. I follow those the Winston Cup points just because I like seeing it, not because I actually follow it and think it's the real thing. I want to preface that right now, but it's just seeing how consistent he's been this year. It's like if he can put something together and get like one win, I think that he can get the job done and get at least to the round of 8. And now that he's there, in my opinion, once you make the round of 8, like anything's possible. Like so let's say Austin Dillon wins this week at Dega. I think anything's possible. He can make it to the Final Four and win the championship. Because once you make it to that point, I'd say like the door is wide open for it. So I'm excited to see Kurt in there. He's a bit of a wild card there.
I think Kurt Busch is certainly, I guess underrated is the right word. I think people are realizing that he is really good and he's often outperforming his equipment. But if you didn't think he was a great driver before he got to Chip Ganassi, I think it's clear he is a very good race car driver and he's getting the most out of that car on a weekly basis. So it was really fun to get him win, to see him get a win. Like you said earlier, Jarrett, winning at his home track for the first time in his career, a track that traditionally has not been great to either of the Busch brothers. But I have to say, it brought a slight tear to my eye. And I'm not a big Kurt Busch fan, but it did kind of just like a nostalgia tear. I was like, man, seeing him smile afterwards in that dark and kind of just damp looking victory lane with no fans and seeing him so excited to finally get a win. It took me back to like 2006. It just kind of hit me all of a sudden that like, I've been a NASCAR fan as long as this guy's basically been driving a race car, more or less. Not quite. Actually, he's been driving a little bit longer, honestly. But it just was. You kind of remember like he's been through so many ups and downs, but the resurgence we've seen in Kurt Busch's career, it is remarkable. It's admirable no matter how you look at it.
Well, can you imagine like go back to 2012 after Dover where he is cussing out Bob Pockrass and be like, yeah, see that guy right there, that guy that like everyone's hating right now?
Yeah.
That guy is going to make one of the best comebacks in a career. Because it's not like he wins every week, but it's just from where he fell down to, both personally and then like also career-wise, and how he's had to build himself up with controversies, which for most part, I think is completely unfounded. And he's been able to build himself back up to where he is now. And the thing for me is when I went on Twitter at like 1 a.m. and I see him just in his helicopter with this giant bottle of champagne filming over Vegas. I'm like, that's just a feel-good story. I mean, a great situation there. And especially since like, I got to have the opportunity to talk with him a bit at Daytona, and he's just such a nice person to talk to. Like he will give you, if he is able to, he will give you as much time as you need to talk and stuff. And I'm happy for him. And like I said, I got to root for a fellow Cubs fan. So
yeah, that's great.
But really quick, I can look here. we can look at the ratings really quick before the poll and playoff points. Ratings, no bueno. Not too good. 1.15 rating and 1.97 million viewers. So there are actually more viewers for the Bristol night race than this one, which surprised me being a Sunday night primetime race. This race was down 18% in ratings from last year from the 1.4 and down 17% in viewership from 2.38 million. I will chalk a lot of this up to COVID though, like just, and the oversaturation of sports at this time. But it does kind of suck that this race, which I thought would have a big gain, didn't.
Yeah, I was hoping this race would at least be break around even compared to last year, but you're right. There's just so many things. The NHL playoffs just ended. Meanwhile, the NBA and the baseball playoffs are now happening in full swing, and the NFL season just started. I mean, there's just so many sports on. Even I lose a little bit of track at this point. I forget when a team I care about is playing a certain game. It's a lot right now.
To be fair, it was going against, because I don't really pay much attention to Sunday Night Football. It went against a good game. Packers versus Saints. That's two powerhouse teams.
Well, and to be fair, like I think just over the entire pandemic reset, I really want to call it, like we've seen TV overall has just been falling. I mean, free falling. We were talking about earlier, the clown show last night that it was down 47%. The sports right now, Sunday Night Football is down, I think, like between 11 and 18% this year. Even that game, the Packers Saints game was down, I think they said 11% from a Cleveland Browns game last year that was the same slot. So it's just sports in general and TV in general has just been down right now. But I mean, we can at least hold solace that we're beating the Stanley Cup finals in our worst races of the year. So you know what? It could be worse.
It does suck though that the first four, and I understand that NHL was carrying the Stanley Cup finals for a couple of those weeks and Sunday Night Football and things as well, but it just sucks that first four playoff races of the year and they're all on cable. It'd just be nice for one of these events, at least like the Southern 500, a crown jewel, or the Bristol Night Race, a fan favorite. One of those, it'd be great if they could get on network TV, so more people could be exposed to the fact that the playoffs have started. Some people might be tuning in to Talladega this weekend on Big NBC and be like, "Oh, the playoffs have started. Oh, I just thought it was Talladega." There's genuinely it's difficult to communicate that kind of stuff whenever the race is on cable.
I mean, at least we do have it on NBC. Actually, we got
5
NBC.
Of the last 6.
Yeah, we got NBC. Yeah, so everyone but Texas.
Yeah, because I think bless you. I think it's like Talladega, Roval, Kansas are all NBC, Texas, NBCSN, then Martinsville and Phoenix. So
yeah,
I mean, there could be a resurgence at the end of the year. It could be like the inverse of last year, where last year was like, hey, it's up until like 3 races left, and then it just absolutely tanked at the end. Maybe that's what we're in store for.
Yeah, well, we shall see, but certainly not fantastic ratings for the second Las Vegas race of the season. Really quick, Jarrett, because I assume you have a poll to show us in a moment.
Yeah.
All right, really quick, I am going to respond to a few super chats we've gotten before you do that. Yin Yang, thank you for the super chat. Thoughts on Byron getting a new crew chief? We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but yes, the news that Chad Knaus is retiring from crew chief work at the end of the season. We'll talk about that later in the show. They haven't announced a replacement yet, have they? It's just.
I don't think they have.
If they have, we have not seen it, but I'm sure we'll be around to talk about when they do announce it. Kyle, thanks for the super chat. The playoff points would still matter. Oh, he's still talking about his playoff format thing. Playoff points would still matter to help getting to the second round since the field is getting cut in half. Yeah, the playoff points mattering in the playoffs, great, but I want playoff points to matter throughout the playoffs as much as possible. That's just me though. But we appreciate the super chats. And then Brandon Welsh with the $10, and then he just sent in. My gosh, guys, so many super chats. Get to these as many as we can. We appreciate it, guys. You sent in $10, which I really appreciate. And then another one, accidentally left my first super chat empty. So do you think Michigan, my home track, being the only 2 mile over, will make it more special? I think so. Since it's now one of a kind.
I would say so, as long as they. I think that there needs to be something done to the track if the racing doesn't improve. Because I mean, I will talk about this when we get to the schedule. But having gone to Michigan for years, it's just like overall the racing product since the repave, no matter the package, has went down a bit.
Yeah, I agree. It's not a bad track. At least it will feel more special. He is right about that. At least
yes,
now
it will.
One of those a year.
Much more unique.
Definitely. Andy, thanks for the super chat. Do you think it'll be a bad look for NASCAR if Harvick or Hamlin don't win the championship since they deserve it most? If Harvick doesn't win, it'll certainly be a tagline. It'll certainly be like an asterisk, like Brad Keselowski won, but Harvick had 12 wins or something ridiculous, whatever it is. Yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, but I know you feel differently about this than I do, Jared. I think, unless if Austin Dillon wins, points his way into the next round and then just lucks into another win at Texas. He didn't luck in his first one, but he gets a win at Texas based on strategy, and then somehow lucks into win at Phoenix and wins the championship. It will be a little weird. We'll be a little off, but I don't see that big of an upset coming. I think the 4 drivers that make the championship 4 are all not equally deserving of the championship based on how they've run this year, but we've talked about Brad Keselowski's been really good at the low downforce track, so maybe he does deserve the championship because that's what the low downforce, it's all about, low downforce at that track. It's tough. The playoffs in every sport will lead to upsets, and it will lead to favorites being eliminated earlier than expected. So it kind of is just nature of the business, but it is certainly something that I don't love. It would be a little weird if Harvick or Hamlin doesn't win this year.
Yeah, I'm going to go a little further on that. I do think it would definitely be something that would be a black eye on the season, especially if it's somebody, because I think Keselowski is a third best. So if someone other than those two is to win, it should be him. He's been the one who's been able to keep pace with them. But there's guys that are, I talked about how good he was doing, but at the same time, Kurt Busch, if he were to come up there and win it, after basically being non-existent for a lot of the season, being in that 9th to 12th range, I see a lot of people having a backlash to that. I don't see, NASCAR should hope their best case scenario is if neither of them wins, it's Chase Elliott winning, because that would just completely, in my opinion, it would completely cover all the negativity, because everyone would be blindly saying how great it was that he won, and it would validate everything NASCAR's been doing.
I guess I don't think you're wrong on that. You're probably right.
But I do think if it's not Chase Elliott that is the one other than those two to win, I do think that NASCAR fans overall are going to have a huge backlash. And I think honestly would be on par, if not more, than Joey Logano winning, especially if Logano wins. Man, I might honestly want that to happen just so I can see the insanity happen before my eyes.
That's fair. Craig, I don't know what happened to Danny. We'll get Danny back in a second. Craig, thanks for the super chat. A few things. I hate the Bristol dirt race since PJ1 has made the racing really good there. What track would you reconfigure and how? I reconfigure Texas into another Bristol or something similar. And I will talk about the Bristol dirt race later on. I'm certainly lukewarm on it, to say the least. Ghost of Saltwater 1989, $20. My gosh, thank you. I think playoff points actually make the eliminations, particularly for the round of 8 to the final 4, more predictable. You could pick Rowdy, Happy Tricks, and Logano every year and get at least 2, usually 3 every year. That's true. Those guys have been very consistent. But you're right. Yeah, I still like playoff points because it makes the regular season still matter. That was the only issue I had with the original chase and even the original knockout round stuff, is once you get into the chase or the playoffs, whatever it was, it's like what you did for 20 races up to that point really didn't matter anymore. So I don't know, that is my only knock against it. All right. We'll reply to these 2 super chats and then we're going to move on for the time being, but we appreciate the support. JC or J Coward, I don't know how to say it, I'm sorry. Which drivers do you think the schedule changes will help the most, and which drivers do you think this will hurt the most? Definitely helps Chase Elliott the most with all the road courses. But again, we will talk about the schedule in just a moment. As far as who it hurts, I don't know who sucks at road courses. Eric Jones, he sucks. He's not getting a ride next year. Bubba's in trouble. Oh gosh,
I saw him put something on there seeing all the road courses, and it's just like,
oh yeah, that's yeah. Oh goodness, MJ's quickly gonna learn what a road course is if he wasn't familiar with them already. It's gonna be the bane of his existence. And then Reptile Girl, thank you. Do you think Denny Hamlin is going to change his number? I think he's gonna stay in the 11. It's just whatever they turn the MJ team into will be. We hope 23, because that'll just be a fun story. But thank you all for the super chats. Again, there's a lot of super chats tonight. If we don't reply to yours right away, we will hopefully get to it later on in the show. But now we do have plenty to get to. This is gonna be a long episode. I feel like we've covered so many bases already, and we got so much further to go. Jarrett, do you have the poll pulled up? How did our fans react to Las Vegas this weekend?
So 6.3 thousand people voted, which, seeing what the viewership was overall, I'm not surprised by it all. 23% of you thought it was great. 60% of you thought this was a good race. 13% said average, and 2% said below average. 3% said bad. So 5% net negativity, and also an 83% net positivity.
That's pretty positive.
Yeah, and actually, it is the most positively received race of the three that I've pulled so far. The spring race this year got 81%, and the fall Vegas race last year got 60% positivity on it. So, trending in the right direction.
There you go.
Which I think, and we'll talk about this later with Chicagoland being taken off. I think that there's a real argument to be made now that Kansas and Las Vegas are the two best mile-and-a-half tracks, and you can decide from which one of those is the best one, but they've consistently put on better shows. Let's see what some of the
comments
comments say here.
Boy. Always exciting.
Let's see. Denny delivers. Joey Logano, I don't need friends. Also Joey, probably flashback to the middle school terrors of not having friends, or to Matt Kenseth in 2015.
Yeah, that was a time where friends would have been more helpful.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. Daniel says, I thoroughly enjoyed the race. This is definitely DiBenedetto's best mile-and-a-half track. Yeah, I'm going to be straight up. I think he blew it. I think he straight up blew that race there. I think he had it in the bag if he just nailed those restarts.
There's something about it, and even Kurt Busch mentioned that he felt like the Fords weren't getting going on the restart. So maybe he might have been trying to do all he could do. I know we've both been kind of hard on him because it felt like that was his race to lose, but maybe there was just his car just literally could not get going, and it really wasn't his own fault.
That might have been the case too. At that point, I think that, in my opinion, a more experienced driver, if say Kyle Busch is going through that, I think he would pull more of a trick out of his head. I mean, Joey Logano seemed to get off on the restarts pretty well. Let's see what else we got in here. RC Luke 24 says it ain't a NASCAR race till John Hunter Nemechek spins. I won't go that far, but it's been fairly common.
That spin was crazy because it was who's it, Jones and someone he pinched into the wall.
Other one.
Was it Reddick or somebody? No, he pinched someone into the wall. Byron, I think. Oh, I don't know.
I give Jones credit though. He definitely got the least possible damage that he could have out of that situation, because had he not moved, it would have been bad. Let's see what else we got. Tabular Bike says, wow, the only race at Vegas with no fans is arguably one of the best finishes at the track. That's true. That sucks that happened, but it just is what it is. Let's see what else we got. Elise Soulfly says, I don't know why not great. It had a big storyline events like Dillon, which that sucked about Austin Dillon. He was running so well.
He had another top 10, maybe a top 5 run going. And then did they ever figure out what the issue was? They talked on the broadcast like they thought he might have run something over, and that might have broke something underneath.
Yeah, they said he threw a belt or something like that, and it just the power steering went away during it. I'm telling you, he reminds me of 2009 Juan Montoya, where he's right up there with everybody else and just bad luck. I don't think his temper is going to get the best of him 42 that year, but just bad luck got in his way. But he says, had big storyline events like Dillon, had good racing, crazy finish. What more can you ask for? I'd say so from a Vegas race. I don't see what more you can ask for with it. Let's see. I'll scroll down a little bit. Let's see. Matthew, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your last name, man. I don't want to butcher it. Says, he said, who saw Kurt Busch winning that race? I know I didn't. Well fought race and deserved victory. John Vandeventer says, I give it a 4 out of 5. Let's see a little further down. I'm trying to find people I don't usually call on as much.
Like that teacher trying to look away from the kid in the front row who's just this.
Me. So Ian Perry says it was a solid race. The end was cool, albeit Kurt and many of the guys got super lucky. I will agree on that.
Yeah.
I'm just glad Hamlin didn't get the win because I thought he had it for sure. Let's see. Wow, there's a lot more comments than I thought there were this week. I'll read one more and then we'll get to the last comment and we'll do our positive or negative here. Michael I'm not going to say that because I could break my cussing abstinence, but Michael says Alex Bowman should have won this race.
I agree with Michael.
Is that your burner account, Danny?
Yes.
All right. So the last one is from Skull Random. What's positive or negative?
These all seem pretty positive tonight. I actually think it's going to be a positive comment. It's going to be something sweet.
Wait, tell me the name again.
So it's Skull Random.
Negative.
All right. The comment. Finally, the elder Busch gets a win. even more so at home. Way better than his crybaby brother. Jesus.
Oh, wait, but that's still kind of negative at the end there, calling out Kyle Busch.
It's kind of both.
It's like the most backhanded compliment you could give to the family.
It's like, hey, I like your whole family except for him.
Yeah, he's the worst, and I hate him. Yeah,
I gotta say though, Kyle Busch's drunk tweeting was pretty damn fun the other night.
Yeah, he was angry. He was lashing out. I hadn't seen a good Kyle Busch Twitter rant in a while. I don't know if he's done that this year. This year's been so off. I feel like he's just accepted defeat. I feel like it's. But I definitely missed that. It was a big weekend for the Busch. He was the only Busch to not win because Brexton got his first win at the end of last week. So
and I loved seeing that picture of like the whole family there and just how proud Kyle looked. But cool. It is pretty funny. It's like Brexton has more wins this year than Kyle.
Dad Kyle Busch is the best Kyle Busch. I love seeing if you don't watch his YouTube channel, then you're missing out because they're posting a lot of good stuff of Brexton growing up on that channel.
Yeah, it has been some fun clips and whatnot. Well,
thank you everybody for voting in the poll. That was fun and well worth it.
Yes,
so
that was good.
Eric, you want to what Eric, Danny, what do you guys think? You want to go to some playoff standings? I mean, we know Kurt Busch has made it, but there's still 11 other guys vying for spots right now.
Sure thing. Hold on, let me see. Do I still have the point standings on my? Yes, I do. Oh, yes, I can pull them up on the stream. So yeah, you can read them off. Oh, I don't know if this is up to date. No, yeah, it is. This is up to date. We're good.
All right, you got Kevin Harvick plus 61.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, so Kevin Harvick plus 61, Denny Hamlin plus 58, Brad Keselowski plus 16, Truex plus 15, Joey Logano plus 11, 7th, Chase Elliott plus 10, Alex Bowman in 8th plus 9, 9th, Kyle Busch minus 9. Obviously, if he was the first one on the cut line, he'd be the one. Yeah. Anyway, 10th, Clint Boyer minus 20, Eric Almirola in 11th minus 27, and then poor Austin Dillon minus 32, the caboose of the playoff grid. So, what do we think moving forward with this one? Who we got?
This is such a tight points gap here between 4th and really 10th, I guess. Especially for Talladega.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I look at it and I think Eric Almirola and Austin Dillon, who both won at super speedways in recent years, I look at them as real threats to win this weekend, or at the very least run top 5, maybe get some big stage points, maybe make up that deficit. But I certainly don't feel good about Kyle Busch or Clint Boyer, even though I thought Boyer ran pretty consistently. He was up there pretty well throughout most of the Vegas race, and then that late race caution, he just got bad restarts. But yeah, I mean, I think at least a couple of us here had Kyle Busch out in this round, and I feel like right now that's got to still feel like a pretty decent pick.
I'm looking at 5th, Truex plus 15. I said he'd be out in this round. I don't think he's going to do too hot a dig. And now I might say that and he'll just turn right around and win.
Yeah.
You know what'd be funny is I'll say this and then I'll do my pick for super speedways like usual with the random number generator and pick him to win or something. But I'm looking at Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin right now, 61 up and 58 up. I think if they just survive and have, a net neutral on points, they'll be good to go. I think if going into the Roval, if they're up by more than 40, 45, I think they should go in there and gun for a win because I think they'll be safe.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Jimmy Johnson thought he was safe in 2018.
Good point.
Well, I don't know. I think lots can happen.
You got to look too hard.
I feel confident about Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano. I think that they seem to always do better in the second Talladega race. And Brad Keselowski, while he's not the greatest when it comes to overall super speedway racing, is amazing at Talladega. But those Hendrick guys being right there, it seems like if they're not up front, they're crashing out. I'm sorry, Danny. You're going to be feeling very anxious with Dega this week.
They both had speed at Vegas though. So they were going to be top 3 if not for that caution.
Yeah, very much for Hendrick. They're going to have to run the race that they had in spring of 2019 when Elliott won and Bowman finished second this weekend. They're going to have to basically replicate that, which is hard to do.
Easier said than done. Yeah, I definitely think the Hendrick guys are in danger, but I kind of agree with you, Jared, is the Penske guys and the Hendrick guys, for that matter, have both consistently worked well together at super speedways, typically stay out of trouble, at least until the end of the race when all hell breaks loose. So I'm fairly confident in them. Truex is that lone JGR car who is only 15 points to the good. I agree. He could be in trouble. This race is sort of the one race he just kind of needs to survive. But I really look at those 4 at the bottom, and unless Almirola or Dillon surprise us this weekend, I don't see really anyone from that bottom 4 making up any points the rest of this. I have a feeling this is what the points are going to look like when we're done with the Roval in a couple weeks.
Now, I think that if they play it safe and there's a lot of wrecks, there's a lot of ifs. Their destiny is not in their own hands unless they win, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But they still can get to, because the Roval is such a wild card as well. They still can get into, position to make it off points from far back. Especially like I'm looking here at Boyer -20 and Almirola -27, Dillon -32. I mean, let's say Dillon wins 2 stages, then all of a sudden he's -12, and that's right there. So I don't think that these guys should be going strictly only for the win. They should still score as many points as they can during the race. Mm-hmm. But I think the strategy should be what it should always be at these tracks is go to the front and stay up there as much as you can. I think that should be their strategy.
I think so too. If anyone's going to ride around and just kind of hang out, I think it would have to be like Harvick or Hamlin. Maybe are the only 2 people who are basically just not wanting to wreck out on lap 5 and get it and take 0 points. That's really that's the only people I see riding around in the back. Everyone else I think should be going for points, like you said.
Just survive the big one, man. Like if they survive the first 2 crashes, I think those 2 would be guaranteed top 20 finish.
I will say, like Hendrick cars, even before the drivers they have in there today, they've never been one to want to kind of ride in the back. Like they're usually always running in like the top 5 for the majority of the race, even if they do get into a crash later on.
Yeah, it's gonna be hectic. I feel for you, Danny, and I feel for anyone that roots for those guys.
I'm just gonna be the one to say if Bowman does a stupid move like he did last year, it's over.
There you go. You heard it.
I think I think that's a good way to end the segment. If y'all have nothing else to say,
if Bowman is dumb, he's done. That's
if dumb is done.
If Bowman is a dummy, he's dunny.
Dumb is done. I like that one.
Goodness. All right.
Let's see.
So we're nearing. We're not quite there. We're nearing the top of the hour. So I'm not sure when we want to get into the lightning round. I don't know how much we have in the lightning round because so many news stories this week are worth discussing in more detail. So steer on, Jarrett. Where are we at?
I think let's just go into the lightning round now. There's so much stuff to talk about on it. That way we just have the whole second half of the show to all that and picks. Lightning round. Oh, do you have it?
I have it. Oh, geez, hit you right in the throat, Jared. Jeez. Oh, goodness. Oh. Man down. Oh, gosh. Oh,
the lightning.
This thing goes longer than I thought it did.
It's got stamina. The lightning round. Brought to you by us. So, starting off.
I started to say, you snuck a sponsor in?
Yeah, I was like, when did we get sponsored? That's new.
Brought to you by Everclear, because if we screw this up enough, you're going to want to have some. So starting off the lightning round here tonight, the Kansas schedule for this year has actually changed up a bit. So Friday, October 16th, I have like the stream over there right now, and I just see myself get struck by lightning. So NASCAR is changing up the Kansas schedule a bit. Friday, October 16th is going to be the Arka race. It might be an FS1 or FS2, but it's going to be starting at 8:30, night race, which I think before it wasn't. And then you got the Saturday races, October 17th. Trucks will be at 4 p.m. on the Big Fox. They're being moved from the night race at FS1 to the Big Fox. And then the Xfinity race is being moved up to the nighttime on NBCSN. Cup race stays the same. This is all according to Bob Pocker, so I trust that this is how it's going to go.
We trust Bob in this house.
Yes, we do. And I'm looking to go to Kansas, so I mean, I won't be able to be there for that, but I'll be able to, watch it on TV that night.
You can hang on the outside and say, "Let me in."
According to Bob Pocker as well, the 2021 rules package is expected this week as well. Don't expect any changes. I think they talked about a few tracks, and we'll talk about that when we talk about the schedule, that are getting 750 instead of 550. And I think they're good changes overall. 750 hits them better. Well, there's a lot of Bob Pockers reports here. There's 2 more from Bob Pockers here. HendrickCars.com will sponsor William Byron this week after Hertz terminated their deal with HMS. They filed for bankruptcy due to the coronavirus stuff, I believe. So
Car looks a lot better than the Hertz banana he was in, though.
If there's a silver lining, there you go.
The Charlotte Motor Speedway will have 70%
Charlotte Motor
capacity
Speedway.
For the 2020 races at the Roval. Both days, I believe. I think they're both double headers. Like it's Xfinity IMSA and then like Trucks Cup, I think, or something like that.
I'm not
could
sure
be wrong.
I don't think there's Trucks. I think it's just Cup on Sunday, but I may be wrong as well. I'm not actually sure. I thought it was just Cup on Sunday. Do Trucks run the Roval usually?
No,
I don't think so.
We'll see. But yeah,
this one might raise a little bit of some fun in the chat. So Gracie Trotter won her first Arka West race. We'll leave it at that.
Congratulations.
I mean, it was really cool. I watched the end of that race because I noticed she was leading, and I've heard really good things about her. So I was like, all right, let's see what's actually going on. And race ended up with a lot of late restarts, and she held them off. I mean, she got great jumps. So there's one restart where she kind of had to fight for it, and I was impressed. She clearly had the dominant car, so it was cool. Now I know what you're hinting at, Jared. Or I don't know if that's what you're hinting at, but I know the chat was going to point out is she's they claim she's now the first female to win in an Arka under the Arka banner or an Arka sanctioned event. It is worth mentioning. Yes, technically that is correct. Of course, I tweeted, and some people didn't like it, but I tweeted out that yes, that's technically true, but it's worth reminding people that this is the Arka West, which used to be the K&N West for years and years. It's the same cars, same teams, same track, same rules. Everything's the same. It's just now called Arka, and Haley Deegan has won that a few times. So not taking away from Gracie Trotter's win, as some people were accusing me of. That was still a fantastic drive. She clearly earned it, and she's only, I think, 8 races into her Arka West career, and she already has a win. That's noteworthy. That is, I mean, I'm not saying she's gonna be the next big thing. I'm not gonna start hyping her up too early, but clearly she's got a future, I think, in racing, and hopefully she sticks around for quite a while. But definitely just wanted to clarify that because we're still waiting for the first woman to win a main Arca race. Could be Deegan, could be Gracie Trotter in the coming years, could be someone else. But once we see one of them hopefully win a main Arca race sometime soon, and then hopefully win Trucks Cup and Xfinity, all one day, that I feel like then really those will be even bigger accomplishments, of course. But no, that was great to see Gracie Trotter get the win, and hopefully one of many more.
Yeah, she earned it. And a little bit more upsetting news. We haven't had any updates on this last time I checked, but we're wishing the best for Natalie Decker. I know a lot of people, and I've been critical of her racing, and I think that's all valid. But when it comes to people's health, we always wish the best for them. She wasn't able to race in the Truck Series race, was getting evaluated, and said that when they found out what was up, they would let everyone know. She might have updated everyone, since I've last checked. But if not, I'm hoping all the best for her.
Certainly.
She's definitely struggled with this for all of her life, it seems like.
And it sucks, it's just someone that shouldn't have to go through that. Going a little bit to a track for next year, the Nashville Super Speedway is they're getting it cleaned off this week, and it is one of the most oddly satisfying things to look at. It's on their Twitter account. It looks good. It's like just all this dirt and grime, and then like the concrete underneath is like as white as my hat.
Which I thought for the most part the track looked like it was in really good condition. Yeah. But then when you see them clean, it's like, oh, okay.
Let's see. According to Dustin Long, Ty Dillon says he has sponsorship put together for 2021. It's just a matter of where he lands.
43 car.
What does he mean by sponsorship? That could mean like 2 races. That could mean like who's.
I have Twisted Tea back for 2 races again. Yes, I do.
I mean, I don't mean to doubt Ty Dillon. That would come out of nowhere. I hadn't heard that. I hadn't seen Dustin. You said Dustin Long reported that. I didn't see that. Yeah. So that is interesting. That's another wrench in the silly season. Goodness.
I think if he. I have him going to the 43 car. If he's going there, I think there are still a lot of sponsors that are going to stay with Richard Petty, even with Bubba leaving. I think that will still be the case.
I think there are some, but I don't know how many. Yeah.
This one's some really happy news here. I want to congratulate Jeff and Sarah Gluck, who are expecting baby number 2. So congratulations to both of them.
Did you guys say that?
That cat just jumped. He just jumped onto his leg.
I looked down I saw something in the corner of my eye. But
I'm having to deal with Shugs this whole time. It's just me here tonight. Claudia's not home, so she usually keeps him under control during this.
Well, no, but yeah, sorry to interrupt, but yeah, congratulations to the Glucks. That's fantastic.
CarQuest is going to be sponsoring the number 22 Xfinity Series car at Talladega this weekend.
Good to see them back.
Let's see, Myrtle Beach Speedway grandstands are torn down. They put it on Twitter this past couple days. That sucks. That's just no way around it. That just sucks.
Do you guys hear that? I think that Slapshoe's crying.
Oh, I thought it was the cat.
According to Bob Pockris, Ben Kennedy says the Xfinity and Truck Series schedules will be coming in the next few weeks. So that's something else also to look out for. And then there's some news. The Langley Speedway, which is a just under 0.4 of a mile track, may have Truck Series racing. They have about 9,000 capacity for the grandstand, so a little bit smaller. But it fits in with a lot of the narrative that people have been saying that Xfinity and Truck Series especially are going to be going back to their short track roots 2021 and 2022 and beyond. I'm excited about that because I see that and I immediately think of Rockford Speedway, which I live like right down the street from, about a quarter mile. But if they're going to these smaller tracks, they're probably going to have smaller fields too. I'd love to see like, a 200 lapper around there. It's a historically relevant track, especially for people like the person we'll talk about soon, Chad Knaus. I'm excited about that. Like Truck Series, in my opinion, should have like their main races that they're with. Cause I know they're talking about a triple header at COTA. Obviously Daytona is going to have one.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think they should have majority short tracks. I think that'd be really good, especially for what, in my opinion, is the best series consistently.
Well, it's a very competitive series these days. There's a lot of trucks that have a shot to win each week, which I think is done wonders for the entertainment value of those races. I agree. I think it'd be great to see them go back to some of those short track races. I mean, you said capacity 9,000. I think even before COVID, a lot of truck races were only drawing maybe 9,000 fans on average to some of those tracks. So imagine a packed house for, at least, optically speaking, a packed house for a truck race on a Friday night. I'd love that. I think that's a great idea.
And then last one, and this leads into what our main topic of the night is going to be. Rumors have been floating around. Again, I preface as rumors.
Okay.
That race lengths for some of the new races and changed races have been leaked. I don't know if they're real, so take this with like an ocean's worth of salt. But if it is what it is, if this is the correct lengths, then you heard it here first. So talking about one of the Atlanta races, will be a 400 miler. I fully expect that.
Sure.
Bristol, the dirt track race we'll talk about. People were talking that's going to still be 500 laps. I doubt that. And then the first Darlington race, Dover's race, and Michigan's races will all be shortened to 400 kilometers, which I think would be pretty good. I think it cuts everything right to the chase, in my opinion.
We know about Nashville, because I say it would be good for a 400, in my opinion.
They haven't talked about it yet, but I would assume probably. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think a 400 miler at that track would be about 300 laps. So I don't know what a 400 kilometer race would be there. I live in America. I don't know that system.
Yeah. What is a how you say it? A kilometer?
Hey,
something like that. Yeah,
anyway. But I guess that's sort of just lightning round over. Basically,
it'd be about 307 laps to do 400 miles around there.
Okay, 400 kilometers at some of those tracks seems a little short because I was joking. I know what a kilometer is. That's actually only like 240, 250 miles or something like that. For a cup race, that seems a little short to me. I feel like the 300 mile, 350 is a better sweet spot for a cup race. Personally, I know we talk about shortening the races, but we're almost halving the race at that point. I don't know. That seems a little quick.
Yeah. Again, it's all rumors right now. So it might be, it might be completely BS. That's why I prefaced it. But I guess it leads into our main topic of the night for the most part. 2021 schedule's been released.
Oh, it has. Actually, we'll get to that in just a moment. I'm going to continue to dangle that carrot on a stick because we have a couple super chats. And then, yes, most of the rest of this final hour is going to be scheduled talk. So brace yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. Bake the Snake, thanks for the super chat. I'm debating on whether or not to go to Road America. I live in Pennsylvania, but had planned on going to Western Illinois during this time. So maybe. Jarrett, you're the closest, to Road America from all of us. So is that, you recommend it?
Listen, it depends on where Western Illinois you're talking. Because if your version of Western Illinois is the western side of the southern side of Illinois, and you're going like to St. Louis, I would say if it's out of your way, don't waste your time, because that's a good probably 6-hour drive. Because Illinois is a long state, top to bottom to go through. But you know what? If it's like 3-4 hours out of the way, I'd say go for it, man. It's a good track. I'm definitely gonna be going there. It'll be on the 4th of July, and I was talking with some people about it, and I was like, "This is awesome! I can drive up there after sleeping in my own bed, drive up there on the 4th of July, watch a cup race, drive back down, and be back in time to have dinner on the 4th of July and watch fireworks with my family." I'm like,
That's a perfect day.
just American right there, man.
That's beautiful.
But I recommend it.
Steven Gibson also sent 5, said 2021 road courses galore. Yes, indeed. And that's what we're about to discuss. Yeah, you said it. And then lastly, $20 from Nitimus Prime. Really appreciate the support. Thank you. Listening to y'all every week helps fill the void from not really having anyone to talk racing with. Speaking of filling a void and Everclear, what's your guys' drink of choice? I'm a Bud Light Jameson guy.
Oh, I love Mike's Hard Lemonade. That's my stuff right there.
I can't remember the name of mine. I haven't drank in a while. I haven't drank since the Bristol trip.
I mean, I'll go easy. I don't drink too much either. So if I had to say my drink of choice, it's a nice ice cold Dr. Pepper.
I got it. Stella Artois.
Wow. Okay, Eric, we need to talk about your problem here. Okay?
I have the taste buds of a 12-year-old, and I'm not afraid to admit it.
Stella Artois. That's mine. Followed probably pretty. I like Corona too, but Stella's up there. I mean, Danny can attest to this. I don't shy away from like sweet tasting moonshine either. So
I mean, especially when like you're about 6 in and then you lose track.
Yeah, we'll just say it was 6 in and lose track. We'll say that.
Honest mistake. Rhino Productions, do you guys think the road course surge will end up like the 1.5-mile outbreak and grow stale over the years? What will stick beyond 2021? I'm sure we're going to talk about that.
Yeah,
I know we talked on the show a few weeks back about what the sweet spot number of road courses is.
I said 5 to 6.
I said 4, maybe 5. So I definitely think they're pushing it. We'll see. Some will stick, some won't. And then lastly, thank you, Reptile Girl. Do you think Denny Hamlin is going to change his number? I think we answered one earlier that said that. I don't believe so. No, he's going to stay at the number 11 car until he retires, if you ask me.
I think even if he decided that, hey, I want to go start a second car for myself at my team, he'd probably still try to get the 11.
Yeah, he'd probably take with him, yeah.
Especially since, that's the number that he got his first chance in from JD Gibbs. I wouldn't see Joe Gibbs holding him back if he asked for it, to be honest, especially if FedEx won't let them.
Well, he might get a little grumpy about FedEx leaving though. So, yes, we just knocked over a glass in my room.
I thought that was Shugs. Back for revenge.
Is Danny the one drinking?
No, you're listening here, drunk. I am not Jarrett.
Oh God!
Just send me a cake afterwards. It's fine. References, I love them.
Outstanding. So yeah, we can start chatting about the schedule. Oh my gosh, I see a bunch of super chats coming in. I'm an alcoholic, and nothing beats Dr. Pepper. That's from Terry. Fantastic. Jeez. And then Andrew, thanks for the super chat. As a proponent of more road courses, I'm so happy we're having 6. Kentucky can burn in hell. Whoa. Kentucky's whoa. I don't like Bristol dirt though. Everyone's dropping their takes in the super chats tonight. keep giving us your schedule change takes, and we'll get to them as the night progresses. But I think it's time for the three of us. We gotta start sharing our thoughts on these playoffs, this schedule. Jarrett, where should we start?
Do you have like any graphics for it, or should I just read them all?
Actually, wait. I was just thinking. Let me see really quick. Can I do that?
Well, it's starting at the Daytona 500.
Yes, go ahead. Start talking, because I think I can add something here in just a second. But keep talking.
I will bring something up before we start talking about like the races themselves, the packages themselves. Now I know they do the 550 package to a degree at the plate tracks, but I'm not. Or super speedways, I should say. But I'm not going to count those just because, those are so off on their own right of something else completely. But I was looking at it, 550 outside of the super speedways is going to have 19 races with the 550 package. So there'll be 13 races next year, roughly, 13 would be a little more than a third of the races. will be in the 750 package. So that's something that I really, that really caught my eye. And to add on this, with Darlington being one of those tracks added on, it means that next year, half of the playoff races will be run with the 750 package and half will be run with the 550. The first round is all 750 horsepower package. Then the middle 5 there from Las Vegas to Kansas, all 550. And then the final 2 races are 750. So it's, you're going to have to master both of them next year, a lot more than you will this year, in my opinion. But I mean, is it up right now, or?
I had it up for just a second, but I do have it. So here, this is just a graphic I put together quick, and I think I even got the Clash. The Clash is February, is it 9th or February 11th?
Yes,
because
9th.
It's February 9th. I have written down February 11th, so ignore that. That one's incorrect. But I believe the rest are correct. So I just threw this together earlier today. But yeah, there you go. I mean, it just looks like a lot of gibberish on screen. Can you guys see it? I guess it'll show up in a second for you guys. But
I'll look down here. I just see myself moving my arms up and down. It's fine.
I mean, if we go in chronological order, we can talk a little bit about like Homestead Miami Speedway being moved to the second race of the season. NASCAR is billing that as, stay in Florida for a week and catch 2 races. I don't really know if that many people are going to do that in February, but I don't know. I guess it's spring break's starting to roll around. I don't know.
I'm gonna be real. I don't see it helping Homestead. I actually think it kind of in a way will hurt it, because you're going down there for Daytona, yeah, and all these fans will be going down there for the 500. Now, maybe, if there's restrictions that they have for it, I don't know. And Florida seems fully opened up at this time, so there might not be. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, if you're going to go down to Daytona or Florida in February for a NASCAR race, you're going to go to Daytona, and you're going to probably go to most of Speedway's races. And then I think people don't realize how far away Daytona and Miami are.
Yeah,
like
they are close.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up on my
states
map
like
right
Illinois.
Well,
Florida's quite long.
I can tell you from perspective. So when we went to Daytona 500 this year, we stayed in Orlando. That was about an hour away from Daytona. So when me and Claudia went on our honeymoon, we went to Orlando first, and then we went to Miami for the race. Well, actually, like in the Miami area, it was like 3 or 4 hours from Orlando to there, plus like an extra 30 minutes to get to where the Speedway actually is. So that's a long haul.
It's
4 hours.
Yeah, if you look at a map, Homestead Miami Speedway, like the Speedway itself, is like nearly the southernmost tip of the United States. Mm-hmm. It is like very nearly the southernmost point of the entire country is that racetrack, which I think is really interesting. There
gets to be a part where like you literally cannot build anything in Florida because it's like literally falling into the ocean.
Yeah,
and I don't see, you're 4 hours away from Daytona with this one, and that's a short route. The long route is, it's about the same. But I mean, you're going to be driving down there, and you got Orlando you can go to, you got Tampa you can go to, St. Petersburg.
There's plenty of things to do in Florida, but the big thing is beaches. And I don't live in Florida for that long, but I feel like February you still run the risk of having like a cold week where the beach is not going to be very fun. So that's the only risk I think there. And the problem is you go to Daytona, and imagine going to the Daytona 500, seeing that spectacle, assuming there's a good number of fans back. That's going to be huge. That's going to be crazy. And then you go to Homestead Miami Speedway the next week. That's kind of no offense to Homestead Miami Speedway, that's kind of a letdown in some ways. It's kind of anticlimactic.
Especially with the 550 package, it's just this track does not mesh well with this package. It put on decent races, but I don't think it's that good of a successor in my opinion. And I don't like the move. I think it should have been put in a more meaningful spot, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think it's more than anything is they're more confident that they're going to get a big crowd allowed at Homestead as opposed to like Las Vegas, which I mean didn't even allow fans this week. So I think they're just hedging the bets, like better chance we'll be able to get a crowd in Florida. So let's move this race up a few weeks. Which I get.
Surprises me with the next 3 with the West Coast swing. That surprises me because the next one is Auto Club in California, and California is one of the most strict states in the union on this stuff.
Yeah, that certainly is I'd give that one a 50-50 shot if we get fans at that track by late February.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see on that one.
But yeah, they jump right into the West Coast swing. You're right.
I think by the time we get to the short track at Auto Club, it should be a different story, but maybe not this next one.
You notice how they're having this race though, like end of February, and then who knows when the race is actually going to be after they reconfigure this whole thing. They need as much time as they can.
That's
man.
True.
So I think that might be NASCAR's thinking, which in my opinion, I think is smart. But yeah, Auto Club, Las Vegas, and Phoenix will be, and they're already selling packages right now for the Phoenix, the first Phoenix race, not the final one of 2021. But they're selling tickets already for a lot of these. So
They're selling weekend packages for the Bristol Dirt Race.
mm-hmm. But what do you guys think about the West Coast swing? Anything really stand out there?
I like it. It was a lot of fun. I thought this year, I thought the attendance for all 3 races was pretty solid because I got to go to all 3 being out in California at the beginning of this year. And I thought Vegas, I know they've removed a lot of grandstands from there, but it was mostly full. Auto Club, I thought, had a very solid crowd, maybe being Jimmy's last potential race there, and that being, I guess, his home track. Maybe that had something to do with it. And Phoenix, again, packed all 40,000 seats for the most part. So I thought it worked. I thought it was a success this year. So I think it's smart to do it again at a similar point the next year.
Okay, after that's Atlanta, which I think is about in the same spot it was last year. But let's be honest, we're not going to talk about this first Atlanta race. We're going to talk about the last race before Easter break. Bristol, baby.
Dirt. Can I zoom this in? Like, you guys aren't going to see this, but the people at home, dirt, Bristol dirt. It's right there, center of your screen. Yeah, that's happening.
So I want to hear you guys' thoughts.
It's going to be a rip starting good time, SpongeBob.
I want to start with you, Danny, because you are the local Tennessee native. What is your opinion? You've been going to Bristol for years. Are you excited? Are you kind of dreading? Are you concerned? Like, what's your take on Bristol being a dirt race next year?
I'm excited to see the spectacle of it just because this has the potential to be, as long as COVID restrictions isn't a big deal, this could easily be one of the most attended Bristol races in a long time, because I've been monitoring the casual NASCAR fans responses that I know of, who just kind of like pick and choose when they want to like NASCAR really, and they're pretty much all excited for this idea. They're like, ooh, I gotta see that, for the most part, you know. Whereas us diehard fans, we're probably more like, I don't know, these Cup cars ain't gonna produce a good show, which I don't think that they will. They're going to have some serious modifications done to them for this race to work right. But I'm excited. You can always try one thing one time, and it's either the greatest show on dirt or it's a complete crap show.
I will say this. I have a few concerns. And I know a lot of people brushed over this, but I don't think it's something to brush over. How is this going to affect the track itself? Like the concrete surface that the dirt will be put on top of. And I asked that because when I went about a month or so ago to the Rockford Speedway, I got the Deary family there was nice enough to give me a bit of a tour around it, and I was asking questions about the dirt race because it was awesome having it there. And they were saying that it actually, between the dirt itself and the composition of it, as well as then having to have basically like bulldozers come in and take all that dirt off the track, that actually damaged a bit of the track and left different grooves in different spots of it because of having to dig underneath this dirt and not seeing it. So that's one thing I wonder is like, how is this going to affect later on in the year, the Bristol night race? That's my thing. When it comes to the race overall, I'm going to be real. It's going to be a crapshoot.
Allow me to answer that for you, Jarrett. I think it's going to be fine. Obviously, Bristol has done this before back in the early 2000s, and obviously they still had their NASCAR races those same years. And to be honest, they were some of the greatest Bristol races in history in that time period. So what they did was they didn't just put dirt down like it sounds like they did in that case, and even
mulch, right?
They put it was like a mulch, but it was like made with wood chips. It was like a solid base layer of wood chips. That way it's like, something soft, kind of spongy to kind of, be the first layer. And then you just clump it all up of dirt. So essentially it's a lot easier to get all that up. You're not trying to break up dirt and hopefully get it all up. You're kind of grabbing it by that base of the wood chips that's then stuck to the wood, the mud in that case,
I know what you're saying. My thing is too that, depending on how they do it, because if they do it that way, then good. But at the same time, it is a different surface too than last time, since the repave, I think in 2007, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean it was around there. All I can say is if this dirt track ruins my Bristol, I will be one unhappy camper. I'm I'm coming for someone if that happens.
We'll just drown it in page A1, Eric. It'll be okay.
Yeah, overall though, I think this is going to be an absolute cluster F, basically.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real.
Who's your early? Wait, too early
Kyle Larson.
Too early to pick when Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson can be in a start.
I'll go Christopher Bell.
I'd pick him
because I know he's going to be in the race.
Granted, there's going to be guys like Reddick and Bowman who start on dirt too. So
I don't think it's going to be as bad as like it's the worst race ever. It's on par with 2008 Brickyard, but I do think there's going to be so many drivers that are not going to be experienced with this, are going to not know when to push. I know that, and this is something that I think is a good point to bring up here too, is that Chris Knight talked to Steve O'Donnell and races like Daytona, Bristol, the Bristol Dirt, I should say, Coke 600, and then all the new tracks, new configurations in the finale are going to have practice and qualifying. So they'll get some time on the track beforehand. But I do think there's a number of drivers who are in these fields that probably have no business being on there. I think there's going to be some crashes there. What happens when lap cars come up?
Do you know how to get out of the way when you're sliding in dirt?
That's what I'm wondering. And Joshua Hoffman in chat, I got a Teespring store on my channel. That's where you can find this.
There you go. Now, you make a good point, though, and that's my biggest gripe with this Bristol race, because you guys know me. I'm all for new things. I'm all for something that's going to be entertaining, and while this has the potential to be an absolute disaster, there's a fine line there, and there's a good chance it'll stay on the entertaining side of that line, perhaps. But I'm skeptical, or I'm at least concerned. But my issue, really, my biggest issue, and I'm not totally against this. I'm very, very much on the fence. I'm very 50-50 on Bristol being a dirt race. But my issue is NASCAR. Some people are going to roll my eyes watching when I say it like this, but it's like NASCAR is supposed to be the most prestigious stock car series in the world. And it's supposed to be, I mean, if you just look at sheer numbers, as far as how many people watch each week, the money that's involved, it's the most prestigious motorsport series of any kind in America right now. And the problem is we're taking the world's best stock car drivers and putting them on dirt, where, like you said, many of them have little to no experience on dirt. So we know we're not seeing the best dirt racers race on dirt. If I wanted to watch the best dirt racers race dirt, I'd go watch World of Outlaws. So it really feels like you're taking a bunch of, people say like baseball is the American form of cricket or vice versa. It's like if you took the Philadelphia Phillies and had them go play a cricket game. That's kind of how it feels. That some skills might translate. They can still throw the little ball or whatever it is. They might hit it still pretty good, but it's not the same game. And you're not watching the best cricket players play cricket. So it's just, that's my only issue. Is it doesn't feel very becoming of a world-class motorsport if you're just kind of throwing your drivers in like fishes out of water.
No, I'll counter that. The most prestigious, motorsport, these are like the best stock car drivers in the world. And you look at the diversity of tracks on here, between the short tracks, more road courses, using the 750 package on tracks like Nashville Super Speedway and Darlington now, as well as, so you're shuffling between two different packages, multiple different tracks. Now you add dirt into that. I'd actually argue that in a lot of ways it could be a net gain.
I see where you're coming from.
But
it's testing their abilities at every type of racetrack and style of racing you possibly can in a stock car. I think that is important that they are still in stock cars. That's fair. I just still feel like, the problem is most of the drivers in the Cup Series have not raced dirt in any significant way in their careers. So that's the thing, is if they knew coming in when they were 12, 15, 16 years old getting into racing, if they knew coming in that, they would need to learn to race dirt to be able to succeed in NASCAR, then I feel like that would change things. They'd come up knowing that. Like now a lot of drivers like Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, even Hailie Deegan has dirt in her background. It's like is sort of becoming a prerequisite to become a NASCAR driver, but it hasn't been for decades. So it's just, it does still feel a little out of place for me. And think about like how often do you drive your stock car on the street, on dirt? That's just not really, typically stock car racing, I guess it's traditionally been primarily asphalt racing because that's how most people drive their stock cars. I don't know.
I drove out the Martinsville parking lot. I drove on dirt. Well, I didn't drive, but I was in the car. We were on dirt.
I don't know. It sounds like I'm nitpicking, and again, I'm fully willing to give Bristol the benefit of the doubt. It is my favorite track on the schedule, so if you're going to replace one of its dates with a weird variant, I want it to be good. And if it's not good, I will be extremely disappointed, and I hope NASCAR bails on the experiment if it fails as badly as it could. But I don't want to leave it on a negative note. Ultimately, I'm excited. I mean, I'd like to buy a ticket. I'd like to go to this race next year. So it has piqued my interest in that respect. So well done.
My thing is that I feel like this is NASCAR trying to shake things up to get like the spring Bristol race back in the spotlight and people like wanting to go to it again and like making it mean more again like it used to. But I mean, we've seen Bristol has had a renaissance in the last 3-4 years, and it's racing, whether spring or fall, has been good. And granted, there's been weather that's affected some of them, but at the same time, even ratings have shown that like just people aren't watching this race anymore. So maybe people might watch the first couple. I think short term there'll probably be a gain the first year, maybe 2 years.
I think.
But what happens if this doesn't pan out?
Yeah, I think 2019 or 2018 when they had that horrible crowd, that was kind of like, okay, no, it's 2019 because the spring race looked horrible, the night race looked great. But that was when Bristol kind of had like the slap in the face, like, hey, people think this race sucks now.
And that's the thing, like NASCAR has just proven over the last week that like, Kentucky Speedway had tons of money put into it, tons of promotion put into it by its parent company. I mean, just everything thrown into it. And they took it off the schedule because it wasn't performing. And I'm looking at Bristol right now, and Bristol's having the same problem where it's like they have all this stuff thrown into it. Yeah, they have good racing, but so too did Chicagoland. And that one's off. Now, some different circumstances, I know. But you look at what they're doing with Auto Club, and now they've basically built like a slimmed down Bristol. So they could still have the 6 short tracks they wanted, or they could add another one on there. And then
the talk is still that, SMI still may eventually want to do something with the Fairground Speedway. And,
yes. And I think that's more realistic than people are saying long term. Not next year by any means, or not 2022, but
Dover has got their Nashville contract for 4 years, so that gives SMI plenty of time to do something on that. But it's like I'm thinking back now, like we're just as much responsible for Bristol Dirt happening, if I can really say it myself, because we were saying earlier this year, oh, what if SMI buys the fairgrounds and then we end up giving the Bristol spring date to the fairgrounds in Nashville? And now I'm thinking, you know what? We caused this. We gave them a reason to think people don't want to watch the Bristol spring race anymore, and now they're going to drastic measures.
It's all YouTubers' fault.
I think the 500 people that showed up to that 2019 race are the reason that they're turning Spring Bristol into a dirt race, unfortunately, which that's still one of the more sad things I've seen in recent years. But
I was there for that one, so it was even sadder.
Yeah, hey, you were doing your part to keep Bristol.
I was one of 500, baby.
Social distancing before it was cool.
All right. Well, then we got a few more races here that are relatively Martinsville being moved back to about the 8th race. It's in April, which I think is a good move. It'll be a night race though, so it might be a little colder. But then there's Martinsville, Richmond. It looks like it'll be during a Sunday race, which with the 750 horsepower, I think will help because they'll help the cars slip and slide more than the night race did this past year. And then you got Talladega. Obviously that's going to be pretty good. May 2nd, you got Kansas. And then Mother's Day weekend, returning to the slot that it had from like 2005 to 2013, Darlington. I wasn't expecting this one until Dale Jr. said something about a week ago about it.
I think it's well deserved.
Yeah, it's become it's always been a fairly popular track, obviously a historic track, but I feel like it's seen a reemergence in popularity with the throwback weekend. I feel like now this gives you 2 weekends. I wonder if now, because as people can see on their screen, later in the year, the Southern 500 is still the first place race of the playoffs. Maybe this allows them to run the throwback race, as the earlier Darlington. So, I know we talked about how that playoff opener, there were so many things going on in that race. Maybe this gives them the chance to spread it out. But the real lead that's sort of been buried here is that they're running the 750 horsepower low downforce package at this race. So,
yeah, I'm excited about that one. I think that's going to help out a lot. But I got to say, Darlington has had pretty good crowds. What I'm wondering is if NASCAR might move the throwback weekend to that regular season race. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm just thinking maybe sponsors who are looking at their playoff cars being turned into throwbacks that are nothing like what they designed to begin with might be like, hey, this is the big part of the year, like y'all are saying. So why isn't our paint scheme not there? I could see them maybe causing a fuss about that, but it just remains to be seen. I don't think they'll race on Mother's Day. I think they'll race that night before, because NASCAR has a pretty big tradition of not racing on Mother's Day itself. But
we'll
there's
see.
That.
Yeah,
Then
'cause I
there's
remember,
They
I
also had
remember
a
for
tradition of not running dirt on Bristol, but here we are. I don't know. NASCAR's off the rail.
yeah,
yeah,
Bristol Motor Speedway isn't going to come after you like if you skipped visiting your mom for a random race in May. Like
Probably
I
true.
would Bristol's not going to be mad at you. I understandably, whereas I understand if like I'm like, yeah, mom, I'm ditching you for a race. Yeah, that probably wouldn't fly. Oh, very
Yeah,
well.
you're right. You're right.
So next up, we got Dover, which is the only Dover race this year. Which I'm gonna be real. A lot of people have told me they like Dover, like to race on it or to be at the track. But on TV, it has not been all too hot,
Yeah.
relatively. So I'm pretty happy about that. And then May 23rd, what usually would be the All-Star race, Circuit of the Americas. My hype train from 2018 has arrived. I love it.
Yeah,
What do y'all think?
That's exciting. I mean, it's one of many road courses. That's actually the first points-paying road course on the schedule. But, I mean, I've been to Circuit of the Americas a couple times. I think we talked about it last week. It's obviously a state-of-the-art facility. They can hold a massive crowd. It's a great location, centrally located between three major Texas cities. I think it's a great choice. I thought it's interesting that they said SMI is basically going to be like renting the track and is still going to be promoting it. So SMI, while they kind of are losing a date with Texas, they still are sort of keeping one.
they're paying to have it, but they're gonna like pocket a ton of money from this, I think, somehow.
Yeah, it's an interesting agreement that they were able to land. But I think it's funny that that worst enemies, Texas Motor Speedway and Circuit of the Americas, have sort of become friends now. Or at least they're collaborating on this endeavor. But
I would say the people of SMI are doing this, and Eddie Goss is just like, fine if I have to.
That's probably true. He probably has his hands tied behind his back. But
something to bring up about this is that Coda has actually been struggling mightily with finances. I mean, they were talking about closing down last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe part of this is just they're like, please just save the track.
Someone take it
at this point.
please.
Well, and it seems like because I think they're talking F1 might not come back to it next year. I don't know if that's true or not.
Who knows?
IndyCar isn't. IndyCar schedule actually is surprisingly bad from what I've seen and heard. But I think Coda now has NASCAR pretty much front and center for that first half of the year there. I'm happy about this. I'm wondering what layout they're going to do, because if they do the long one, I can see there being problems just with how fast it might be. But I think they'll test. They'll probably have testing before then, and we'll find out. As our friend the Fly, even with it being cold, is annoying me now.
Well, I could see him. Usually the frame rate's not good enough, but I actually saw him there. He must be angry.
Oh, I've got Mr. Suggs in here now, and he's like, if you don't pet me, I'm going to bite your leg.
Oh my goodness, it's absolute calamity over here. But I mean, Circuit of the Americas, I've heard the same things, that they're kind of struggling financially, and their future with F1 is a little bit uncertain. IndyCar uncertain. So this is great to get NASCAR involved, introduce them to that region, that audience, and we'll see who shows up for it. I would like to be there. I think it's gonna be good. Tony Stewart obviously gave it a great endorsement last year when he tested there, and I'm with you. I think the 3.5 mile configuration with that long back straightaway into a heavy braking zone could be a little much for some of for cars to handle for 300 miles or however long the race is. So they might end up cutting that short a little bit with one of the different configurations.
There's supposedly a lot of configurations they can choose to use. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, but I'm all for it. It's a great facility. So fans who go there in person, I think will have a great time. So go for it.
Man, meanwhile, the guys who are making the new, like, not NASCAR heat, whatever they're going to call it, game, are like, are you kidding me? We got to do all these tracks now?
Yeah, they're
on a new engine.
Sweating right now.
And it's like, are you kidding me? We just abandoned a game where we literally had a dirt version of Bristol. Now we got to make a new one.
Well, they're probably going to make a new one anyway for that, I'm thinking, like, long term. But after Coda, get the Coke 600, same spot it's always been. But I notice, most years Charlotte and the Coke 600 is like the 12th or 13th race. It's the 15th race this year. Now there's a reason we'll talk about later on in the schedule. Then Sonoma follows that one up. And then we get another shakeup here with the All-Star race being at Texas. Eric, you're a resident Texan. What do you think, man?
I mean, it's fine. Again, I think, like you guys said, Eddie Gossage and them, they got too much pull to lose 2 dates. So, I mean, All-Star Race is great. I think this is perfect because now we don't have to sit through two 500-mile races. And it sounds like that All-Star weekend, they're still going to have Xfinity and trucks. So it's not like it's just going to be a one-off for Cup and that's it. And just show up and dip out. Like, people who go there for the weekend are still going to get their money's worth. So I actually think this is good. I think, Texas obviously is not the most exciting track these days, but maybe with the kind of sprint race setup that the All-Star Race is, maybe that'll actually lend itself to a better than average Texas race, something we weren't expecting. But yeah, nobody's that excited about it. Just kind of is what it is.
I want to say props to Texas Motor Speedway for being a very good troll on social media, because Eddie Gossage was hyping up this big event that they had today. And then Texas Motor Speedway was hyping up like, we got this big announcement. You think you know, but you don't know, was literally what they were saying. And like a couple of days before that, Texas Motor Speedway tweeted something about their supposed Roval option layout that they have. And I was thinking, oh gosh, they're about to announce that the All-Star Race is on the Roval, aren't they? Then turn on this big announcement they had for 2 p.m. And here's Eddie Gossage saying, we have got the All-Star Race. $1 million is what they will win. Did you know it's here for the first time ever? And I was like, they rented out a big restaurant, it looked like, put in this huge, look like a WWE Jumbotron inside of there. And it's like, this is what you did this for, to tell us something we already knew?
If you think about it, the All-Star Race, every year since they've had $1 million as the prize to win it, has steadily lost its value over time due to inflation.
Yep.
So maybe they need to raise it up. Maybe you can win $5 million. I bet then drivers will get up on it. Yeah, I'm not too enthused about it, but I know it's probably going to be on a rotation. So maybe next year we'll get I don't know, Atlanta.
Eddie ain't going to want to have only one race.
That's going to be tough. I don't know.
I hope he gets one race. Anyway, next week is on Father's Day, Nashville Super Speedway. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Danny, we go from Eric's home state to your home state in Tennessee with Nashville.
Welcome to Nashville. We have hot chicken, country music, and a 1.3-mile concrete oval in Lebanon, Tennessee. Come on out here and have fun, guys. It's going to be a blast. I'm looking forward to maybe hosting you guys over here with me and the wife, and enjoying time in Nashville together, and just enjoying the first race weekend. I don't know what I'll be doing exactly. If we'll be able to get hot passes or anything by then. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm close enough to the area. Maybe I can find a way to do something with the Speedway over there. I don't know. But, who knows what can happen between now and then. But I'm excited just to have a race right in my backyard for once. Even growing up in East Tennessee, Bristol Motor Speedway was still 2 hours away. This one is, a 50-minute drive from the house. So this is definitely the closest I've ever had to, be from a NASCAR race going on.
I was thinking about, we have more 1.3 mile races this coming year than we do 2 mile races. That's got to be a first.
That's true.
I was just thinking about that. That's kind of weird. And we'll have more for the foreseeable future. It seems like, I'm with the 750 horsepower package. I'm looking forward to this one. I want to be there just because, I'll be real. I've been in Nashville, about half a dozen times in the last year now, and I like it. I like it out there. It's a good place. So I'm just happy to be down there and then get to see some racing that I'm hoping to be pretty good. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I hope that we can have as many fans there as possible and just build up the hype for it. Because I think bigger things are to come.
I'm really excited of, who they've got in charge of it. Eric Moses. He's very much excited for the opportunity because from what I've gathered from seeing him, he feels as though this is his second chance because obviously he was getting to be a part of something, huge with the XFL coming back, leading the DC Defenders, and then that just went out the window. So he sees this as his second chance to, take another thing and rebuild it from the ground up.
And I'm fine with them doing that. Like I said, just the culture around Nashville. I completely understand why they're trying to build it up out there. And like I said, I think that with this track, even if it's something like a stepping stone almost, if they can get the fairgrounds one day, I think the best is yet to come. Other than just this year, I think it's just building from here, in my opinion.
Yep.
Then following that up, we got the Pocono doubleheader. And then we talked about this a little bit earlier, but July 4th, Road America. That one, again, that one also surprised me that they're moving that one there. So what do you guys think? Road America, yay, nay on this one? Because for me, I'm big time thumbs up on it. More road courses for me, the better.
I love it for our guys in the Midwest, like Cody and Rusty and you, Jarrett. You guys don't have enough that you can really go to up there. So it's good to have, the Cup Series is finally up in that area.
It's good if they're losing Chicagoland. At least they got another solid racetrack. I mean, this is only a couple hours away from Chicagoland, so it's still kind of in the region. And yeah, it's a solid road course. It's been solid for the Xfinity Series. I don't have a real issue with it.
It's about an hour 50 for me, so I'm down with it. I mean, I basically drive 3/4 of that when I go to my college classes anyway. So what's a little more? I'm down with it. And then the next one, July 11th. This one's, I hope they make this one a night race because it's gonna be hot as hell out there in July. Atlanta.
It's scheduled for a Sunday, so we'll see.
Boy,
they ran it during the daytime this year, and Bubba Wallace nearly passed out afterwards.
This might be heresy here, man, but they need to repave that place. I think it's too old at this point. I was saying that when we raced there in June.
I don't see a repave as much as I see them just going back to the old layout, and then that's their excuse to repave it.
I think there is that. They've been wanting to redevelop that entire area around the track, and I think with it would be a reconfiguration of the entire speedway. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. It needs to be repaved at some point. It's pushing the limits. The point where you run half a lap and your tires are shredded. You got to pit for 4. It's ridiculous, honestly. But I'd be afraid of them repaving it right now, right before we have to race there twice next year. If they knew they were going to repave it, I wish they'd repaved it 6 years ago when they were still going there just once a year. So I don't know.
It's like they're going to have to do this repave then from at the end of July through the winter, and then get it done right in time for March, April again?
If it's the same as this year, yeah, middle of March.
Just repave it with sandpaper.
I would say
stupid.
don't reconfigure it unless you're doing exactly the old layout. But I mean, you look back at these early 2000s, late 90s races at Atlanta that everyone's talking about after they reconfigured it and repaved it basically. And they were good races, I mean, because what was it? 97 was the first year after, I think it was. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Joshua White in the chat says they repaved it in 97 and the racing was awesome. Yeah. They repaved it in 97, the racing 3 years later, they had that awesome finish between Dale Earnhardt and Bobby Labonte. Then the next year they had it between Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon. They had awesome races after that. I mean, there was some awesome ones between Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Dale Jr. Through the mid 2000s. I remember 2006, Junior and Kenseth racing for third at the end of that race was as intense as a win, race for the win. So you know what? Maybe it's not a bad idea to get it repaved if you do it right. That's my thing. If you do it right and you have the right package with it.
That's the thing. The key that you hit it on at the end there. Those are very different cars than they're racing right now. I mean, that's 2 generations or more removed from what they're racing right now. So I'd still be a little worried about a repave, but that is a good point. I didn't really think about that the last time they repaved it, it recovered fairly quickly, if that's the right way to phrase it. So I mean, I do agree. They need to repave it sooner rather than later because it's to the point where it is, I think, hindering the product for fans watching. I know drivers love racing it, but it's just getting to the point where it's not as fun to watch consistently as it used to be.
No, not at all. This is followed up by New Hampshire, then 2 weeks off for the Olympics, which I completely understand with that one. Just NBC's conflict of interest there. Mm-hmm. Going, fingers crossed, back to Watkins Glen, August 8th. And then Indianapolis road course, the Brickyard 400, at least for now, is over. And we now have the road course at the Brickyard. This one actually really surprised me, man. It really surprised me. I did not think they were going to do this.
This is a better direction for NASCAR, I think.
I think if this doesn't work, though, I had said it beforehand. I see that David Land had said it too. I think if this doesn't work for Indianapolis, I think they might be done after this with NASCAR if they can't get the road course to work with a doubleheader with IndyCar on top of it.
Yeah, what has me excited about it is the fact that it's going to be once again IndyCar, NASCAR Cup, a weekend doubleheader at that same configuration, which I think hopefully at that point, good chance fans are able to attend, and that would be I think a fantastic weekend for any sort of race fan. I definitely. Yeah, I think this removes it from the crown jewel conversation. It already kind of was sort of considered the weakest crown jewel, I think, to most fans. But I will be curious to see how drivers react to it, because even earlier this summer, after Kevin Harvick won the race, he was asked, like, would you like to see this place turn to the road course? And he was like, nah, man, the oval is so historic. That's the only reason we're here, is it's the oval. That's why everyone wants to win. It's such a historic configuration. So moving it to the road course, I worry that now they're just going to treat it like any other road course. It's not really going to feel like Indianapolis Motor Speedway, hallowed grounds, one of the greatest speedways on earth. Like, I do feel like it's lost some of its importance. I think the racing product will be more entertaining than NASCAR Cup on the oval, but I also am not convinced this is going to bring out more fans or even better TV ratings. I think it's going to be quite comparable to what it's been recently.
I think that what would fit NASCAR in this time, especially if this doesn't work, which I'll be completely honest, even if it has great racing, it feels like the fans have left this track for the most part in comparison to other series. I would say go to IRP. I think you can have great racing. It can fit the NASCAR mold more. And granted, the finish of the Xfinity race at the Indy Road Course is really good, but
yeah,
I'd say that might be a way to go about it. Go to the short track, add another short track, make fans happy. I think net gains everywhere, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then after this, Michigan gets its lone date, and then 26 through 36. They're basically all the same. I think Texas and Kansas flip-flop. That's it.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited they kept Daytona as the regular season finale. I think that was fantastic this year. So I'm happy.
I'll be honest. I really like the current playoff schedule. I think it works really good to be a round of short tracks, a round of different tracks and three ways, and then another round of kind of pretty much all different tracks, and then a really different track.
Yeah, I agree. I think these playoffs are, I mean, the ones we have now and the ones we're going to have next year apparently are very good.
My question is, once you don't have the Olympics to have 2 weeks off, do you move the Daytona 500 up a week to like February 21st, or do you move the finale back into October? That's my big thing. I know they've been trying to move that way for the finale. But I think 2022, I don't think you see as many, but I think 2022, 2023, I think you'll see combined about as many changes. I think that the schedule by the end of this TV contract will be unrecognizable from this current year's original schedule.
Yeah,
that's my take.
I forget who it was, but someone did say, Steve O'Donnell said that, don't expect the schedule to stay like this for the foreseeable future, because it's going to change again.
Well, and I'm looking in venues with 2 races. Now they might have different layouts for them, but there's 12 of them still on the schedule, which means 24 of the 36 races are made up of doubles. There's Daytona, Las Vegas, Phoenix, Atlanta, Bristol, Martinsville, Richmond, Talladega, Kansas, Darlington, Charlotte, and Pocono. I don't believe either of the parent companies own Pocono, so I wouldn't be surprised if Pocono, one of those dates gets taken off to fill up the bye week that they have there, if the doubleheader doesn't work out. But I think there's going to be a lot of shifting. And I think that the days of like 18 of the 22 tracks getting like double races, I think is over. I don't think they're doing that anymore. I think they're going to try and get as many as possible to as many markets as possible. Biggest bang for their buck. But
probably
it sucks that we're losing Chicagoland. We're also losing Kentucky.
Dang. You're like that guy earlier who told Kentucky to go to hell.
I won't go that far.
Maybe they can use this time period to listen to me and become the Kentucky Super Speedway, and then they can come back.
Not that
so
again.
That would be the KFC 500. But yeah, that's. Oh man, we still have a lot to talk about. Jeez. Well, really quick, last little bit about scheduling. I am kind of surprised that Gateway isn't on there, but I think I think that'll probably be in the next batch of tracks added in.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised.
I think it's probably just not ready yet. And I think the fair, in my opinion, the fairgrounds will be there within the next 5 years. I think NASCAR.
I think honestly, fairgrounds could maybe even exist with the Nashville Super Speedway, because if it's SMI who gets that, Dover could be like, hey, I want to keep my Nashville date. SMI could be like, okay, well, we're just going to set up this is an entirely different track, really about 35 minutes away from one another. They could, do that, have the Nashville Fairgrounds as well, and give them, Atlanta second date.
That could be a possibility. I think just overall, they need that big market. And I do think the fairgrounds overall, I personally think that's the end goal. And I think it'd be a perfect one, I believe, just right in the middle of the city, or for the most part, it's not like it's out in the middle of nowhere, like Chicagoland was for Joliet.
You can look over and see tall buildings of Nashville from that track. So it's in the city.
The camera guys are going to have a field day with the shots.
Oh yeah.
They're,
and you know what they're going to get at the Nashville Super Speedway? Fields.
Well, real quick, I want to bring this up. Iowa wasn't brought up to the Cup Series. It was dropped from IndyCar, and there hasn't been a buyer for the track yet. It's been up, basically for sale. And there's rumors it might not even be on the Truck and Xfinity schedule. There's also rumors, there's also people saying that it will be, but Iowa.
I could see them keeping Arka maybe at least, but that's about it.
But their future's up in question, man.
At some point, if all they have is Arka or something like that, at what point can they not pay the bills anymore and need to just get out of there? I don't know. I don't know enough about Iowa. I feel like I think none of us really knew enough about Iowa, because I feel like a year or two ago, we all were talking about how great Iowa is and how strong its future is going to be in NASCAR. Now it's like, oh, well, I guess never mind. I don't know what to think about Iowa. It's in just such a, it's in the middle of nowhere. I'm sorry. No offense, people live in Iowa or anything. It's just, it's not the same as going to Nashville or going to Austin or Auto Club Speedway. It's just not, it's not as exciting.
It's a track that opened up right at the unfortunate tail end of the Nationwide Series using the Gen 4 car. And it was designed, in my opinion, for those cars, because those cars raced really good on that track. And then they changed up that car in that series, and then the racing kind of went downhill from there. That was a track that was made for Gen 4 cars. It was not made for what we adapted to.
And I still think the racing has been good, but I drove past there on the way to Kansas this past year, and there's nothing around it. And that's the thing nowadays that sucks about a lot of change, but there needs to be something that builds a lot around it. And when you look at, going to Kansas Speedway, I love that track. I've been, ever since going there last year, I've been ranting and raving about it because it is a good track. It is built in the city. There's tons of stuff around it. The facility is top notch, in my opinion. And you look at the tracks that are having problems here or, being left behind, and there's Chicagoland, and Iowa. These two tracks are just, they're not with the times at this point. Yeah. So
you think of some tracks like we talked about Homestead, Miami, the appeal of it's kind of went down because I'll be honest, even for it to be in Miami area, there's really not a lot that's around the track over there to really offer.
It's still 40 minutes away from Miami, so it's not.
It's not. There's not really a lot there. There are a few tracks that can really do good if nothing around it, like Bristol, for example. Bristol, when actually the people are there in Bristol, it's set up that entire area is like a little small town, really, at that point. You think of Talladega. The appeal is Talladega, and then there's some
Martinsville.
There's some vendors. Well, Martinsville is kind of in the town of Martinsville, so it's kind of right there.
Yeah, but it's not like a giant, city or anything. But it's like this, the Bristol, Talladega, Martinsville, everything is built around these tracks, and the town itself, the culture of that town is racing.
Yeah,
and it just fits with it, and and I think that's something talking about North Wilkesboro and Rockingham, why a lot of people bring them back is because those are the same. They're in the same vein of the town and the overall area was, at least for those, in the culture of racing. Whereas Joliet and Chicagoland, like I said, after about 2011, 2012, that town, in my opinion, has not been really as behind it as it was in years past.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can get through these right before picks, not take too long on them because a lot of them are pretty self-evident with it. So there's Chad Knaus here.
I was gonna say, just do another lightning round. We'll be fine.
Well, we got 3 things, and I don't think it'll take too long. So Chad Knaus, announcing basically he's retiring, and I'm like, man, him and Jimmy could have went out together.
Like if you would have known that you're both gonna retire, But hey, I will say this, probably a good move on his part because he's gonna, unless Jimmy surprises us, he's gonna go out with just one more win.
That's funny.
I'm hoping that Knaus being moved up and Hendrick is gonna help. I hope that's like something that kickstarts it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. As I hope that this move, upwards into more a senior leadership role at Hendrick, I really hope that helps their performance. Because that's the thing is, he's not going to be on the pit box every week, but he's still very much going to be involved in a lot of the competition decisions and things, the prep time and stuff for Hendrick Motorsports. So, I'm excited to see what it does for that team. But as far as Chad Knaus is concerned, he's obviously one of the best to ever do it, and certainly I think he's deserved to have the opportunity to choose when he's ready to step down from the pit box, stop traveling so much. I know, hasn't he just recently had like another kid, like a really young kid, just like this year? So I'll bet he's wanting to stay home, be off the road, a little bit more than he's been on it recently. So completely understandable. And I wish the best for him. He's obviously, like I said, one of the best to ever do it. So
would you guys have him as a first ballot Hall of Famer by 2024?
Yes.
I don't know. Yes, I think the moment he's eligible or whatever, whenever they put him on the ballot, I think so. He should be in the Hall of Fame. But I don't know how they do it. We'll do it for crew chiefs. I guess it's still, you got to wait 3 years. But I don't know, since he's still kind of working in the sport. They've obviously inducted active team owners who are still team owning, so it's like, I don't really understand how they do it. But yes, there's a very real possibility that in like 2023 or 24, whenever I guess it actually becomes their time, he and Jimmy Johnson go in together.
Oh gosh, yeah, I just thought about that. Oh my gosh, they'd go in at the same time.
Which, as a Matt Kenseth fan, I'm very sad because that means he'll have to wait another year, because I would vote for Chad Knaus over Matt. No, I wouldn't. No, I would. I'd have to give Matt. I'd have Matt Kenseth would go in the next year, which would make me kind of sad. Yeah. But it is what it
Chad Knaus,
and then there's another driver who gets hurt or something. It's like Matt. Hey, Matt, you want to come drive? Carl said no. Okay.
Yeah, no, just will race one more year. But what if that's the thing is, what if Jimmy comes back and races like 6 or 7 races a season? Is that going to affect his eligibility? I don't know.
I don't know. Dale Jr. still races part-time, so it didn't do anything for him.
And I don't think it did anything to Jeff Gordon either when he filled in. But I feel like Matt Kenseth, playing off that, I feel like he's turning into almost the Chris Carter of NASCAR, whereas like he is one of the best, but no one will ever acknowledge it because there's always that one person ahead in the voting. With it. And I feel like that's what it almost would start becoming. Because Matt Kenseth, and I'm not, saying this because I just of Martinsville 2015, but I was there. It was awesome. I will always bring that up. But it just, he is such an underrated talent. He is somebody who raced against, everyone talks about Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, and then Kevin Harvick. Matt Kenseth raced against all these guys and not only held his own, he beat a lot of these guys. And what we're finding out most of the time was inferior equipment. So
I'm not going to stop you. You can keep saying great things about Matt Kenseth. I agree. He's often been sort of the second place guy to someone who slightly outshines him. I think unfortunately though 2020s, some of these kids are gonna have grown up not seeing the real Matt Kenseth, unfortunately. But no, focusing on Chad Knaus though, when he becomes eligible, I think it would be kind of poetic. I don't know where their relationship is really at. I'm sure they have still a good working relationship, but I don't know if Jimmy and Chad really would want to sort of share the Hall of Fame honor. I don't know the two guys personally, but I wonder if part of them's like, give me my own moment, give him his own moment. We aren't. I don't know. I don't know where their relationship is really at. I'm sure it's. Cordial. But
I kind of say one would induct one and one would induct the other personally.
That would be that's probably how it would be best written up. But I don't know. Obviously, Chad Knaus is a Hall of Famer and should get in it sooner rather than later, though.
Not thinking about it. I think there's only one story left here. I was looking this other one we talked about earlier. Last one. Adam Stern reported this. Matt Benedetto said that he expects news on his status for the 21 this week, which obviously we talked about that before. But while an announcement hasn't been made yet, industry execs are increasingly doubtful that he is going to be extended at Wood Brothers, which means Austin Cindric would be waiting in the wings if a change is made. So I ask you guys, one, Austin Cindric, is he going to be in the 21 next year or in some for Penske? And how is he going to do in those cars?
He's going to be the
all
only
these road courses.
He's going to be the only guy to give Chase Elliott a run for his money on the road courses.
What do you think, Eric?
I'm looking at Twitter just to make sure, because this is the night he's supposed to hear back from Matt Benedetto, supposed to hear from the Wood Brothers if he's coming back next year. And there's a tweet from Austin Cindric himself from earlier this afternoon, basically giving his thoughts on all the Cup Series schedule tracks that were announced today. He's very excited based on these emojis for Road America, the Indianapolis Road Course, COTA, and even Bristol.
He's got no reason to care about those if he doesn't have something.
Well, I don't know that that's necessarily what that means, but I think obviously since we haven't heard anything today, I think it's very unlikely Matt Benedetto comes back to the 21 next year. So it is likely Austin Cindric's ride, and I agree. Road courses are going to be his strong suit. I would not be shocked if he wins more than one race next year as a rookie. I honestly wouldn't. I think it could happen.
I wouldn't either. But it sucks for Benedetto, and it shows how almost cruelly cutthroat this industry is that like he got his shot again. Because he used to have top level equipment, then he had to work his fell back down, had to work his way back up, and now he's losing it again. Hopefully he gets somewhere better this time. So.
I hope that if he doesn't stay with Penske in their Xfinity program, I realistically see him going to the Xfinity Series or something like that for 1 year. Because now I'm thinking about it, he could be a perfect guy to go help out Colleague Racing, who's going to need another driver over there potentially. And I saw something to touch on this now. Kurt Busch seems like he's not sure if he's going to come back after 2021. And if that's the case,
said 50-50 shot.
The Benedetto may be a candidate for the one car by then.
That's a good point. Yeah, I don't know what Matt Benedetto does from here. Obviously, I think he's still maybe a contingency plan for the 48. If Larson doesn't end up working out, I think Benedetto would probably be a solid choice for them. But beyond that, I don't see any other ride that I think is likely for him to land at that's an upgrade from the 21. I don't think he's getting the 14. He's obviously not getting the 42. The 43 is not an upgrade. So I don't really know where he goes from here. Xfinity Series may be all he has left, but I think it's integral that Benedetto races for a competitive team wherever he's at, whatever series it's in. He needs to continue to run up front and hopefully win a race he needs to win something at some point to really prove himself, because I think he's good. I think he's worthy of a decent Cup Series ride. But we've talked about it on this show. I know this year's crazy and new team, no practice, no qualifying, but he has not run as well this year as I think many of us hoped he would. He's been just a little off perhaps. So I don't know. I'm still not sold that Matt Benedetto is a real Cup star, but I definitely think he doesn't deserve to go out of the 21 like this. That's like you said, it's cutthroat. It's kind of ruthless.
It's like, do I think he performed well enough to earn a second chance? Yes.
Yes, I think so.
Did I think he was going to get it? No.
No, it seemed as the days wound on, it just seemed more and more likely it's not going to happen. And unless we get a surprise announcement tomorrow, I expect Cindric. I think we all expect Cindric in that car before long, but. Yeah.
And I think he's earned it. I think so far
he has had a big year, yeah. What I'm impressed with Cindric is 2 years ago, he was sort of the punchline. He made a lot of mistakes and just clearly looked a little over his head, driving too hard. He's fixed something. He's obviously gotten better each year, and this year he's having a breakout season, especially on road courses. So I give him credit for that.
I remember a couple of years back, I said the exact same thing about Cole Custer. I didn't think Cole Custer was going to make it, and then he changed it. He turned himself around, and then he won his rookie year in a Cup Series. So anyone can surprise you, and Austin Cindric has been, well, in my opinion, like a Cole Custer to come back, racer of the year.
Yeah. So is that time for picks?
I think it is.
All right, really quick before we get to picks, partially because I haven't given it much thought, but I'll give you guys a second to think about it if you haven't, even though it is Talladega. I do want to answer a bunch of super chats we've gotten in the last hour. Bake the Snake. I honestly wish they got rid of Pocono race instead of Chicagoland. Yeah, Pocono's hit or miss without a doubt. A lot of people weighing in with their schedule picks as well. Also, Ghost of Saltwater, 1989 says, "I'm not so think as you drunk I am." We're talking about our drinks of choice earlier, of course. Thank you for that. Tyler Burbeck, no Pocono doubleheader. The Pocono doubleheader can also burn where the sun shines.
Jesus.
No, didn't ask for two, so not a fan of the Pocono doubleheader. We got some Pocono hate here in the Super Chat tonight. Bake the Snake, another one. NASCAR is expecting people to just yeet their money away by staying longer. That's when we were talking about the Florida to start the season. Is that what people do in Florida? Is yeet their money away?
I guess it's just referring to how long it would take to stay down there.
I guess that's 7-8
Like,
days.
I don't know. Like me and Claudia, we're talking about doing the West Coast swing in 2 years, but that's going to take a while to save up for that and see if we even can. So.
Irvin Alvarado, thank you for the $10 super chat. Two things. One, this schedule is really diverse and will challenge Cup drivers' talent and ability more so next year. Two, Eric, do you think Texas should convert to a Vegas layout to improve the racing?
Texas Super Speedway.
Yeah, Texas Super Speedway. That's all. That's what we're pushing for here. They used to kind of be more like, well, not. I mean, obviously not, because Vegas has the rounded front stretch.
Like Atlanta.
At this point, I don't know if Texas has the money to justify completely redoing the track yet again. I don't know. Maybe they should. Maybe they could. But yeah, the current Texas is certainly not great. I just saw a super chat from Dwight. I don't want to miss it. He says, "You all rock." Thank you, Dwight.
Thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate
Dwight.
that. Another one from Ghost of Saltwater. Thank you for the super chat. I would have preferred they move one of Las Vegas's dates to the .5, the half-mile dirt oval they already have in the greater complex, removes a mile and a half, keeps the current Southwest presence, and still grants a fan request. I don't know enough about that dirt track. We need to get Darian in here. I have no idea what the capacity is like, but they probably couldn't justify a cup race at a smaller track like that.
3,000-4,000 maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
It seemed like a very small area. It seemed kind of like the Rockford Speedway in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Thomas sends a super chat, says NASCAR was born on dirt races. That's a good point earlier about them returning to Bristol, but it has been a while. Things have changed quite a bit in 70, 80 years since NASCAR started. Another one from Ghost of Saltwater. Despite my doubts, I wouldn't mind both Coda and TMS finding success. I also wouldn't mind Eddie Gossage being hung by the crotch seam of his pants.
Oh gosh.
Damn.
People are ruthless
Y'all are
with these
violent.
tracks tonight.
That's some strong
language.
there.
GN, fans didn't show up to Bristol in the spring. They changed the track. Fans didn't go to the Brickyard 400, so they had to change the track. Not shocking. I mean, I guess that is ultimately what you got to do what you got to do.
Fair enough.
And then the other White Castle, Indy Road Course blows. If you aren't on the oval, why bother? Well, so there you go. You have an Indianapolis purist as well. So all points of view represented by our chat tonight, it feels like. NASCAR Mobile 48, NASCAR Bristol Dirt Race, NASCAR Bristol Dirt Race, Lightning McQueen, eyes emoji. He turns right to go left better than anyone, I guess. Oh gosh, we have more of these than I thought. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going really quick. I appreciate the support, but my goodness gracious, y'all are wearing my vocal cords out tonight. Bake the Snake again. My teammate on iRacing hates the schedule. He hates road courses and hates that Daytona isn't being run in July like it used to. Yeah, road courses are tough. I've only turned a few laps in iRacing, but yes, the road courses are difficult. Carl Singleton, I'm starting a sports talk / motorsports talk YouTube empire. Whoa. Would any of you boys like to collab for a NASCAR video? Perhaps, of course. This empire you're talking about sounds dramatic. Chris St. John, as someone from the eastern side of Michigan, I feel MIS truly won't last in the distant future, and a track will come up closer to the Detroit area. I'm not familiar with the region, but again, yeah, we're talking about tracks that are kind of out in the middle of nowhere. That certainly doesn't help. And then last two right here. Alexander, thank you. What truck series drivers do you think will move up to Xfinity next year, particularly if for SHR and Penske if Briscoe and Cindric move to Cup?
I think there's a chance that Brett Moffitt may actually move with that number 02 car.
I would hope so. I would like to see him get a good Xfinity ride. I mean, he's run most of the races this year in a mid-pack car, so.
I'll be honest, I hadn't thought too much in depth about it.
I'm just trying to think of those are Ford teams. So what Ford drivers are in trucks that are kind of young and exciting and up and coming? There's not many because like Thor Sport's mostly veterans, like Ben Rhodes and Johnny Sauter and.
Well, Ben Rhodes is young.
He's young, but I don't know if Ben Rhodes is he going to Xfinity? Do we think he's a Cup guy someday soon? Like I don't know. I haven't seen enough from him. I'd say. That's a good question. We don't know. We'll have to circle back on that one.
That's what I'm seeing. Yeah, Daniel in the chat says Zane Smith.
I mean, he's a Chevy guy, isn't he?
But I mean,
Yeah.
people can jump ship.
That's true. Yeah, well, okay, if we open it up, yeah. I'd like to see
Hey,
Zane Smith.
maybe RCR can get another car again.
You never know. Last one, Nicholas Gray, thank you. Let's go NASCAR on the Daytona Beach again. Why not at this point? I'm a little surprised that wasn't on the schedule for next year. It's about the only thing that was missing.
The beach is pretty much gone now. It's been built over.
Yeah. Well,
Hey, you're going to be running right through a condo, I guess.
hey,
Demolition derby car.
Hey, those are best seats in the house. Literally in
Just
the
don't
house.
get hit.
Litter in the house.
All right. Well, thank you all for the super chats. Really do appreciate the support. This has been a wild show, a busy show. But yes, let's wrap it up with race picks for Talladega this weekend. Y'all know how this works. We always start with who's going to suck. Then we give our underdogs. And then we talk about who's going to win. So who wants to start us off with your suck pick for Sunday afternoon?
I can go first for this one. Who is going to suck in this one? Who's going to do a flippity-do at Talladega?
What?
A flippity-do.
Flippity-doo-dah.
Heck, this is his last race, but I don't know. I don't. He hasn't really done as good. I think he's done the super speedways in the past. I'll say Brendan Gaughan doesn't have a good day.
Whoa. Dang, that's a feeling.
I can't say that. I can't say it. I want him to win just for the interview. And I'm looking at the chat right now. I'm getting their consensus, but a lot of it is Kyle Busch.
Well, yeah.
Lots of Kyle Busch.
Fair enough.
The spoiler.
So-
That's going to be my pick. I don't think Kyle Busch runs well. I think he'll run fine and then probably get caught up in something. I mean, it just seems par for the course.
Kyle Busch seems like the consensus pick right now. So there's that. So, for people who are new, how I pick at Talladega and Daytona is a random number generator,
Yes.
which you cannot see because
No, that is blown out.
reasons.
Yes.
So I'm going to generate my random number and see who we got.
Drum roll.
And as usual, no, darn it.
What did it
Well,
give you?
he's made it to the next round anyway. Kurt Busch is the suck pick this week.
All right. Wow, number one. Impressive.
Okay. Actually,
Well, let's take that
that's fair enough. I think he probably would have been more concerned if he hadn't won Las Vegas.
That is true.
So yes, Kurt Busch is my suck pick. So now I'll put in the chat right now, underdog picks.
Underdogs. Danny, you want to start us off?
Sure. Let's go. He needs to figure out something to do. Matt DiBenedetto. He can have a good run here and be an underdog.
I like that. I like that a lot. I'll go. I'm gonna keep riding the hype train. I'm gonna go Austin Dillon. Is he even an underdog? He's in the round of 12. Like, goodness gracious! But I'd love to see Austin Dillon put together a phenomenal race. Obviously, he won Daytona in 2018, so he is capable of running up near the front at super speedways. Chevys are often quite fast. There's a lot of Chevy teammates that he's going to be able to work with. So I have good faith in Austin Dillon. He could run top 5 and maybe have a shot at winning this thing. So that's who my pick is.
Danny, the chat is disagreeing with you on the underdog pick. I'm looking right now, and it's Brendan Gaughan by a wide margin, then Bubba Wallace a little bit after, but Brendan Gaughan is the chat's pick. So, random number generator. Don't fail me now.
Get
Who we
62,
got?
please. 62.
Cole Custer,
Oh,
41.
gosh.
Cole Custer is the underdog pick for me this week, thanks
That's
to
not
the
bad.
random number generator.
Fair enough.
That's not a bad one. All right, so who's going to win? Who's going to win Talladega?
Let's see. If anyone could win this place. Heck, last time he come up short at Las Vegas, he went out and won next week. Let's go, my guy. I'm there for it, Alex Bowman.
Saw that one coming from a mile away. Didn't even need
Right,
binoculars.
now we're not going to have Talladega anymore.
All right, I haven't even decided who's going to win. I'm bouncing between a few. Part of me wants to say just Denny Hamlin's going to run well. Another part of me wants to say Ryan Blaney. He showed speed at Vegas, and obviously he's run really well at these tracks before. But hey, screw it. If Danny B's going to go Alex Bowman, Matt Kenseth wins. He was battling for the lead when he got wrecked out of Daytona a few weeks back. Matt Kenseth is going to get his 40th career Cup Series win. Go out on a high note, just like he did in 2017. Matt Kenseth wins at Talladega Sunday.
The chat is so undecided right now.
I mean, that's Talladega. That's how it's supposed to be.
It looks like it's either Logano or Blaney.
Yeah, I see a lot of Blaney's, and yeah, I do see some Logano's.
I think it's going with
Super Chat.
Blaney.
Super Chat says Johnson, so he gets 2 votes.
Oh, jeez. I think the consensus pick looks like it's Blaney right now. So what is my winner pick? Please be 62. Please, please,
88.
please. Yes.
No.
Yes.
No,
That's
you're
serious.
where I can't see it. Oh wait, that's a
too blurry.
63. What is it? No, that's hold it more in the center.
Oh,
Oh, it is a 62.
They're 62. Wow.
What? That's destiny. Brendan
Yes.
Gaughan. Oh my god.
Brendan Gaughan is gonna win.
Hey, I hope we see it. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we see it.
That's
I'm
hilarious.
looking at it, and Brendan Gaughan is the only driver who is fit into every single category.
That's so funny. That's hilarious.
You know what? I hope so, man. I hope so. I would love just to see his interview after the
Ooh,
race.
what if he is an underdog to win? He does win, and he sucks because
He
there's
fails
like
post race.
Oh no.
no, I'm not saying that, but like there's a crash at the end, and he wins it going like in reverse, kind of like Almirola almost did earlier this year.
Yeah, if Brendan Gaughan wins and fails post race, NASCAR just needs to sweep that under the rug. Give him the trophy. Like we don't need to know about it. Like just give him his moment. My goodness. And thank you, Keegan, for the super chat. He says he's hoping to see you guys at Dega. Are you both gonna be?
yeah.
I know you are, Jared. Are you gonna be there too, Danny?
Yes, I'll be there.
Oh boy, y'all have fun. I will not be there, unfortunately. Sorry, guys, but
You can watch out for me. I will be in the Alex Bowman Exalta hat and a teal Danny B. Talk shirt. I'll be easy to recognize.
yeah, you will stand out.
In my iceberg shirt and this hat.
That Winston Cup Series. That's when I think of you, Jared. That's the hat. Like if that, I feel like when you die, we're gonna put that hat on your headstone because that's been on your head more than anything else.
Yep.
That just seems about as fitting as it gets. So make sure you take good care of that hat.
I don't know, but
will.
by then he may be some grumpy old man who's like, back in my day, it was the Nextel Cup Series. I don't know.
Those were the days. Hey, Bake the Snake, thanks for the super chat. Anyone want to do a meetup at Road America next year? If I can go, I'd like to make some friends who like NASCAR as much as I do. Heck yeah, people going to.
I'll go.
Yeah, Jared's. It's almost in his backyard. He'll be there. I mean, I'm hoping to get out to a bunch of races next year, but it's just so hard to predict so far in advance. But yeah, that'd be fun. Road America would be awesome. So,
So really quick,
what's the
talked about
schedule
this
for the
earlier.
rest of the year?
Yeah, we have 6 episodes left this year. So next week we're going to be on Thursday, October 8th, on Danny's channel. We're doing that just to avoid there's the debates and people are watching. There's a lot of stuff that night, so we figured that people would like it on Thursday.
Everyone pop some popcorn on Wednesday and enjoy whatever happens in that.
And we might have a guest. I don't know yet. Then now the rest of these are all going to be Wednesdays. They're just tentative dates at now, but these next couple of weeks. So October 14th tentatively would be on my channel. Then on Danny's channel again, October 21st, then October 28th on my channel. Last episode I'm hosting of the year. November 4th would be on Danny's channel again. Last episode he's hosting of the year. And then the finale, November 11th. We got some pretty cool stuff that might be planned for that week. And yeah, in the works. And that will be on Eric's channel for the finale. So that's going to be a fun one.
Right here where you're at right now. Yeah, that's super exciting. I'm excited for the championship. I'm excited for the rest of the season. It's going to be season 3 is going out on a high note, I have a feeling. So
yeah.
And then we might have some important stuff for you all to be sure to be on the lookout for season 4. So we'll just put it at that right now.
Of course. It's never too early to plant a nice teaser like that. But yeah, thank you all again, everyone, for watching tonight. Again, a huge thank you to Ross Chastain for being on the show. And I also want to thank everyone for their super chats. You guys were out of control tonight, but I greatly appreciate it. Thanks everyone for watching. Oh, Jared, you get the Dale call, right? Just make sure you still got ready.
He's got far away.
Play us out, Jared, and let's get out of here. We'll see y'all next week.
That wasn't too bad.
Do it again. I didn't hear it at all. You got to get closer. Yeah, you got to do it again, Jared. We couldn't hear it.
Serious?
Yeah, like the mic didn't.